G. Komen for a cure. All the bats will be auctioned off after the game today. Nyjer Morgan leads things off against Livan Hernandez and takes ball one. Morgan 2 for 7 in this series, hitting .298 for the year. And Livan falls behind him 2-0. Delwyn Young hitting second in the order today. And then Nate McLouth for the Pirates, who have lost 7 in a row. And during that 7-game losing streak, the Pirates as a team are hitting .196. John Russell in his second year as Pirate manager after losing 95 games last year.
The first game on Friday night, they had a nice start by Steve Karstens. Not so great yesterday. Mahalam struggling.
Except with his bat. Paul Mahalam hitting the home run yesterday. He said his first since his junior year in high school. A little bit low on a full count to Morgan, 3-2.
It'll be interesting to see Hernandez today. Livan's one of those pitchers that you can know right away whether he's got his stuff just by how he gets ahead of the hitters. First pitch strikes, first out in the inning.
Morgan had some long turns at bat on Friday night when he squared off against John Neese. We mentioned this name during the game on Friday, and I was talking to Alex Corey yesterday about Morgan, and he immediately said Juan Pierre,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And he does remind you a little of Pierre. Left-handed speedster, left-hand thrower. Again, the 3-2, and again Morgan fouls it off, and he has proved to be a pest in this series.
Has loads of talent. Came to the game a little later, 28 years old. So he's not that young, but young to the game.
He's a hockey player. Spent 4 years playing junior hockey in Canada. And he puts this one in play, and it'll fall for a base hit. So Nyjer Morgan, a leadoff single, takes a very wide turn and holds up with a leadoff hit. So the Pirates get the leadoff man on, and now Delwyn Young. One thing about Livan, he generally has been very good early in games. First pass through the batting order. Opponents are hitting just .195 against Hernandez. He has had some trouble later on in games.
When the team has lost the first two, I'd be interested to see if John Russell, their manager, has the hit and run going, trying to ignite this offense in some way. Livan, of course, excellent fielder of his position. You can see those are the numbers. So Jerry Manuel talks about they don't want him to turn over the lineup too many times.
Delwyn Young, a switch hitter, and Morgan, who can steal a base, back to the bag. He's already swiped 8 this year, 1 off the league lead. Pirates don't have a whole lot of power in their lineup. They're second to last in the National League in home runs. So if they're going to score, they need to push the envelope a little bit, because they do have some guys who can run.
It's amazing. You know, we had Ralph up here yesterday, and of course he was a home run champion 7 times. In the 122 years of their existence, this organization, the Pittsburgh Pirates, have never led the National League in home runs. That's hard to believe.
Well, they had that cavernous ballpark at Forbes Field for all those years. And Livan having trouble throwing strikes, behind on Delwyn Young, 2-0. Pirates certainly have had home run hitters over the years. I mean, not just Ralph, but Willie Stargell, who has more home runs against the Mets than anybody in history.
Richie Zisk,
Clemente,
Parker.
Fouled away, and it's 2-1 to Delwyn Young.
They had that guy Bonds, I think was.
Yeah, he was good. Wasn't as big a home run hitter back when he was a Pirate. Wasn't as big when he was a Pirate. Bobby Bonilla hit home runs as a Pirate.
So there's a Pittsburgh Barry and a San Francisco Barry. They're two different people.
Let's see if they play hit and run here. Morgan running. Young takes a strike. The throw by Santos is not in time. Morgan stays on the bag this time. Remember, he overslid on Friday night and was tagged out. but he has his 9th stolen base of the year.
Well, good pitch to throw here from Santos, but the ball comes out a little high out of his hand. And I think even a perfect throw would not get him. Had almost 5 steps, did Morgan, on the way to second base.
See, he kept his toe on that time. Reyes remembering what happened Friday night, making sure he kept that tag down. So that ties Morgan for the league lead in steals. He's at second with nobody out. Delwyn Young was with the Dodgers at the beginning of the year, was on the disabled list at the start of the season, traded to the Pirates in the middle of April for a couple of players to be named later.
Livan working very slow. Tempo of this game very slow at the start.
And he goes to a 3-2 count to the second straight hitter with Nate McLouth waiting on deck. On 3-2, Young lines one into left field, a base hit. Morgan had to hold up, so he'll go to third and stop there. And so the first 2 hitters are aboard for the Pirates. First and third and nobody out.
Well, nice hitting by Young. The ball outside. And we've talked about it before. Livan Hernandez will live mostly on the outside part of the plate to the right-handers, left-handers. And goes with that nicely. Morgan had to freeze and then proceeds to third base. Good base running.
So an immediate threat for Pittsburgh. Nate McLouth comes to bat. McLouth 2 for 9 in this series, hitting a .283, but hitting .406 with runners in scoring position this year. Coming off a 26 home run season last year, and he fouls the first offering away.
On Friday night, he had a gift double that fell in between Ryan Church and Carlos Beltran. It'll be interesting today because we have an unusually windy day here at Citi Field.
Wind clocked at 25 miles an hour right now, gusting to 31. And between that and the sun, it could be an adventurous day on fly balls. And the changeup misses, and it's 1-1 to McLouth. And Nate McLouth has a little pink trim on his spikes.
Yeah.
Going one step further. He rolls over that one and fouls it off 1-2. Adam LaRoche waiting on deck. Livan's thrown 17 pitches in this first inning and still looking for his first out. Trying to keep that stat intact.
Well, Livan's limited in how he can strike out left-handed hitters when you need one, but his best way is an inside fastball that starts at the hip and comes back over.
Curveball hit in the air to right field. That'll get a run home as Church, battling the sun and the wind, stays with it. Morgan tags and scores, and the Pirates take an early 1-0 lead on the sacrifice fly by Nate McLouth. So McLouth has his 20th run batted into the season. And that's the first out of the game. And it'll bring up Adam LaRoche. And it's interesting that the wind in this ballpark, the flags at the top of the stadium appear to show the wind blowing out to right field. But standing on the field before the game, it seemed like it was coming in the other direction. And Adam LaRoche takes ball one.
Really was swirling on the field, wasn't it? It seemed like it was coming in from right field. I was watching a batting practice. The ball was going nowhere in right field.
Young at first and 1 out. LaRoche really struggling right now. And he takes in the dirt. 2-0, and Livan's been 2-0 on each of the first 3 hitters. Funny thing about Hernandez so far this year, his splits against left-handers and right-handers, the right-handers are hitting him far better than the lefties are. Left-hand hitters are hitting just .216 against Livan. On 2-0, LaRoche takes wide, and now it's 3-0.
Well, it's interesting when you see older pitchers or guys who have a lot of innings. It almost seems like Livan, when I watch him sometimes, it's hard for him to get loose. It's almost like he can't get loose out there.
3-0 fastball in for a strike.
That was the best one he threw all day right there.
Eric Hinsky is playing right field today and batting 5th. He's on deck. On 3-1, LaRoche takes a letter high strike, 3-2.
That was that little get me over fastball. We used to call it batting practice fastball. You know the hitter's looking for a good fastball. You just take just enough off to upset his timing.
77-mile-an-hour fastball would upset anybody's time. 3-2 with one out. You would expect Young to be running. And he is. And it's ball 4, and the Pirates have 2 men on. So a very hard-working first inning for Livan Hernandez, and now he'll face Eric Hinske with a couple of men aboard. It's only the 9th batter Livan has walked in 28 innings this year. Walks have not really been a problem for him, but he's been behind everybody in the first inning today. So here's Hinske, who spent last year with the American League champion Rays, the bulk of his career in Toronto,
where he was really destined for stardom, wasn't he, when he first started?
Well, his first year was his best year. He had 24 home runs his rookie season and never came close to that again. One of those guys who plays with very high intensity, and sometimes that works against him.
Kind of fight yourself when you're not doing well.
Hinske hitting at 229. And he takes a knee-high strike, 1-1. The first batter that Livan has not gone to 2-0 on. But you see he's had to throw a ton of pitches already with one out in the first inning.
That's something we'd see in common with Tom Glavine, wouldn't we? Same number of strikes to balls.
Hinske fouls it off, and Livan's ahead 1-2. Hinske getting the start in right field today. Brandon Moss, who started the first 2 games, has really struggled. He went 0 for 8 in the first 2 games, struck out 4 times, had trouble in the outfield. And so even though John Russell and the Pirate general manager Neil Huntington say they're very committed to Moss and that he's not going to get sent to the minors, they're giving him a mental day off as much as anything today. Now Livan would love to get a ground ball here from Hinske, ahead in the count 1-2. And I would think with the wind and the sun today, you want to get ground balls from everybody.
Yes.
Papers are already collecting out in center field. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out with a fastball. So Livan registers his first strikeout of the afternoon, and that's the second out.
Well, nice job by Livan elevating this fastball. This is the hardest one he's thrown all the first inning, 86 miles an hour.
So now Andy LaRoche, who had a nice day at the plate yesterday with a pair of doubles, and the one time he was retired hit a scorching line drive that Fernando Tatis caught in left field. Andy hitting at 264, and he takes a strike. So Livan's starting to kick it into gear. That's part of that getting loose you were talking about.
Well, people on base will kind of quicken that for you.
Be happy here to get out of this inning with 1 run scoring. And the breaking ball fouled off, and he's ahead on Andy LaRoche, showing 2. Andy, the younger of the LaRoche brothers, one of 12 sets of brothers in the big leagues this year. The only other ones who are teammates are the Gonzalez brothers in San Diego, Adrian and Edgar. Oh, 2 curveball rolled out to shortstop for Reyes, and so Livan gets out of the inning with only 1 run scoring. A hard-working first inning. Mets down 1-0 as they come to bat against Ian Snell. Ryan Church back in the lineup against the right-hander today. David Wright had 3 hits yesterday. He had 2 hits yesterday. So did Jose Reyes. Reyes had 3. In fact, 7 Mets had 2 or more hits yesterday in their 17-hit attack.
Ian Snell pitching for the Pirates. You see him with number 45. He was a big admirer of Pedro Martinez when he was younger. 16 and 24 his last 2 seasons after a great 06 year when he went 14 and 11. 2 starts ago, though, he made a start, which you never see anymore. 7 innings and 131 pitches.
Those are the most pitches thrown by any starter in a game this year. He lost that game 1-0 on a home run by the opposing pitcher, Giovanni Gallardo of the Brewers. Jose Reyes takes a strike. And by the way, if you think the Pirates are going bad, at least they're not playing the Brewers, who have beaten the Pirates 17 straight times.
You got to get lucky one of those times, don't you?
Reyes hits it hard down to first, and Adam LaRoche catches it at the hip and leads Snell nicely for the first out.
Here's a look at the defense brought to you by ChevyOffers.com. You can see Nigel Morgan, who led off left field, McLeod Hinsky the start in right, Andy and Adam LaRoche on the corners with Bixler and Young up the middle. Bixler had a couple of hits in Friday night's game, and Robinson Diaz doing the catching.
Here's Luis Castillo. Castillo 4 for 9 in this series, as the average up to 325, keeping the on-base percentage above 400. And that one pops right out of Robinson Diaz's mitt. 0-1. Andy LaRoche, the third baseman, playing in close. You can see the scoreboard paying tribute to all the bombs today. It's a lovely name. Faustina. 1-1. Never heard that one before.
No.
Carlos Beltran swinging his pink bat on deck. You know, there was a day, and it probably wasn't all that long ago, that major leaguers never would have swung a pink bat. But I think we've all evolved.
I think we're much more sensitive now. I think even number 17 would swing a pink bat today.
Let's not go overboard. 1-2 to Castillo. Keith will be back tomorrow, won't he?
Absolutely, for the Bravos.
One-two to Castillo, and that's taken low. When they first started using the pink bats a few years ago, there were only selected players who were willing to do that, and now it's become very widespread, as the goal is to increase breast cancer awareness. Right through the originator and into center field, and Castillo has the Mets' first hit.
Well, when he follows through, of course, Ian Snell really follows through sideways, and the ball just goes right by his glove. He tries to trap it against his body, but hit too hard by Castillo.
So the Mets have the tying run aboard with 1 out, and the red-hot Carlos Beltran steps in. Carlos became the first man to hit one in the second deck in left field, batting right-handed yesterday. He'll take a shot at the Pepsi porch today, batting left-handed. Carlos now with 6 home runs. Interestingly, he's hit 3 from the right side, 3 from the left side, even though he's had 3 times as many at bats as a left-hand hitter. Letter high strike. Carlos still leading the National League in batting, hitting .378, second in the league in on-base percentage, 9th in slugging, just off to a phenomenal start. Castillo running. The throw by Diaz right on the money, and it's kicked out. And Castillo's safe. The ball was there, the tag applied, but Bixler couldn't hold it, and so Castillo arrived safely.
Well, good throw by Diaz. The ball traveled a little towards the second base side of the base. Tough pitch to throw on that inside fastball, but he stands up and fires a strike, and it looks like the ball and the glove, and Castillo arrived all at the same time, just on a snow cone there by Bixler, not able to hold on.
Castillo's arm actually knocked that ball out. So it's a stolen base for Castillo, and the Mets have a runner in scoring position with 1 out. Beltran with 22 runs batted in this year. And Snell takes a look at second. You can see the wind riffling the pant legs of Ian Snell. The wind is going to play a significant role in this game today.
Well, you see that a lot more nowadays because guys wear their pants so looser.
Can you imagine pitching in pants like that?
No.
Good breaking ball by Snell when it's 1-2.
Herd mentality, though, in baseball. If one person's doing it, a lot of people are doing it. Good curveball here, just under the bat of Beltran. Yeah, see, that's more like it. I wouldn't have the pants pulled up, of course, to the knees. I don't have the good-looking calves like Morgan, but I definitely have those stirrups.
Castillo at second and 1 out. Mets down by a run in the first. And that's in the dirt. Stopped by Diaz, 2-2. The Mets have certainly picked it up of late with runners in scoring position. It was a big problem early in the season, but during this 6-game winning streak, they have been money. And for the year now, the Mets are hitting .283 as a team with runners in scoring position. If they could do that all year, they'll be thrilled. That's now 3 games over 500 and in first place in the National League East. Phillies losing last night to the Braves, and that's a percentage points ahead of Florida and a half game ahead of Philadelphia starting play today.
Florida won last night, right? Colorado.
Josh Johnson doing a 3-0 on the year. Johnson's been terrific ever since coming back from Tommy John surgery last summer. He's now 10-1.
10-1, you got it. 7-1 last year.
2-2 to Beltran, and he swings and misses at the breaking ball, and Snell has his first strikeout of the day. 2 down.
Well, you can see what his game plan against Carlos will be today. Just enough fastballs to keep him honest, and a lot of curveballs in the dirt. And Snell, one of the few major leaguers from Delaware.
The only other one I can recall is Delino DeShields.
Yeah. There's been 46 major leaguers from Delaware. It's hard to believe.
Really?
Yeah.
You got any other names?
No, no big names. You know, Snell and, like you said, Delino DeShields. DeShields traded from Montreal to Dodgers, wasn't he?
For Pedro Martinez.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And at the time, everybody said, how can you trade a position player the caliber of Delino DeShields for some skinny reliever named Pedro Martinez? Well, it turned out the Expos kind of knew what they were doing.
Yeah, they did.
Here's Carlos Delgado with a runner at second and 2 down. And Carlos fists one foul, 0-1.
Well, when Pedro, who was a relief pitcher with the Dodgers, went over to Montreal, they made him a starter right away. And the pitching coach was Joe Kerrigan, who's now the Pirates pitching coach. And they forged a great relationship as Pedro won 2 of his Cy Youngs in Montreal and 1 in Boston, or maybe the other way around.
That would have been the other way around. But he, Montreal was where he established himself as an elite pitcher, and the Dodgers never thought that Pedro had the physique to be a starting pitcher. Delgado takes low, and it's 1-1. I mean, after all, the Dodgers had Pedro's older brother Ramon, who was a very successful starter for L.A., but they just thought Pedro was too skinny.
And Ramon was about 6'4", 6'5". In the day, and not that long ago, if you were a shortish kind of right-hander, you didn't get a shot to start.
One to Carlos, low and inside, so Snell keeping that ball down to the Carloses. 2-1. Of course, right around the time that Pedro was beginning to spin his magic, another little right-hander who would win 355 games was starting out too. A guy named Maddox.
Yeah, he did all right too, didn't he?
So maybe some of that disdain for the little right-hander is gone. Roy Oswalt's doing okay. 2-1 to Delgado, and he bounces one down to first. Nice hop for LaRoche, and Snell gets through the first inning unscathed. We head to the second at Citi Field. The Pirates leading 1-0. A beautiful Mother's Day afternoon in New York. A little breezy, but very sunny. And out in the Empire Suites in right field, it's a special Gary, Keith, and Ron event honoring all the moms on Mother's Day. Big crowd there. Ron and I were down there before the game, taking pictures, signing autographs, and of course it's all for charity.
I loved Kevin Burkhart's young son Logan has a Ralph Kiner shirt. It was awesome. Number 4.
Now that's a connection of generations, isn't it?
It is.
2-year-old Logan wearing the number of a guy who retired over 50 years ago. There's some of the crowd there at the GaryKeithandRon.com event. And if you'd like more information about the upcoming events or to help out the charities, please go to GaryKeithandRon.com. Andy LaRoche strokes one down the right field line, or Robinson Diaz, excuse me, down the right field line, and Diaz has himself a leadoff double. So the Pirates in business again to start the second inning.
Well, good hitting by Diaz. We've liked what we've seen from this young catcher. Going the other way with the pitch.
So Diaz starting 2 of the 3 games in this series. This is only his 6th major league start. And now the number 8 hitter Brian Bixler will try and move him over. Mets appealing at first base, and the home plate umpire Chris Guccione says that Diaz did touch the bag.
That's something you don't see very much anymore.
Be interesting to see how close he came to missing the bag, or sometimes you wonder whether the umpires are really watching as a guy rounds first on his way for a double. But that's also interesting, isn't it, in terms of umpire rotation, that it's the home plate umpire's call here. He caught it with his heel.
Back part of the bag.
Because the first base umpire is down the right field line,
yes,
calling the play fair or foul and watching the ball in the corner. So with the home plate umpire's responsibility is to see that the guy touches first.
That's a real brave call, too, by the umpire. And I think the bravest call I ever saw when Lee Mazzilli was playing for the Pittsburgh Pirates was the 10th or 11th inning. I can't remember. He was tagging up at third with 1 out to get the walk-off win for Pittsburgh, and the umpire called that he left too early. I mean, that's hard to do in someone else's park in Pittsburgh.
0-2 to Brian Bixler. And he goes down swinging. There's a big strikeout for Livan Hernandez, pinning Diaz at second base. 1 away. Well, the famous play from the early days of the Mets, Marv Thornberry was a beloved figure for all of his foibles. He was known as Marvelous Marv. And one day, Throneberry, of all things, hits a triple. Legs out a 3-base hit. The opposing team appeals at second base, saying that he didn't touch second, and the umpire calls Throneberry out. And Casey Stengel comes out to argue the call and argues for a few seconds, and the umpire says, Casey, you know, not for nothing, but he missed first base, too.
That's great.
At that point, you know, what more could you say?
Boy, to be a Met fan in those days, huh?
Well, but that was part of the attraction, is that they were such lovable losers. Ian Snell lifts one foul, and it's 0-2. I mean, that first year, the Mets went 40 and 120, and they lost 110 or more each of their first 3 years.
There's less compassion for lovable losers now.
That's probably so. Probably a franchise similarly haunted by failure now wouldn't be quite embraced the same way. Snell down swinging. That's 6 consecutive strikes by Levon after giving up the leadoff double. And now there are 2 down in the inning. But, you know, National League fans had been spurned in New York with the Dodgers and the Giants leaving 4 years earlier, and they were desperate to have a team. And they didn't come out in force that first year. The Mets drew less than 1 million fans their first year at the Polo Grounds, the only year they ever drew less than 1 million, as Niger Morgan fouls it off. But the legend grew.
Yeah.
And guys like Throneberry and Casey Stengel, who helped sell the franchise, helped to create that whole image of the Mets as really, as much as anything, the anti-Yankees, the new generation.
Well, this Pittsburgh team is learning how to live with losing, aren't they? 16 consecutive seasons with losing records starting in 1993.
Ties a major league record set by the Phillies of the 30s and 40s, and the Pirates are odds on to break that record this year. 2-1 now to Morgan, who had a base hit, stole a base, and scored a run in the first.
Pittsburgh is a Sidney Crosby town anyways, Gary.
It's a Steelers town. And it's too high, 3-1. It's a how many rings do we have Super Bowl town.
That's right. What do they got, 5?
5 now, including the most recent one. 3-1 to Morgan, and he walked him. So Morgan is on for the second time. 6 Super Bowls.
That's right.
It was. So 2 on and 2 out, and now Delwyn Young will come to bat.
That's right. You know that Mr. Bradshaw helped win 4 of them. And Big Ben has done all right for himself.
Twice now. So here's Young, who singled to left his first time up. Delwyn Young, whose dad, Selwyn, spent 15 years in the minor leagues. Never got a crack at the big leagues. But growing up in L.A., Delwyn will tell you his dad's dream was for Delwyn to get to the big leagues, and he finally fulfilled a family dream. His grandfather played in the Negro Leagues. Off the corner, and it's 2-0. And so Omir Santos is going to come out and see if he can be some help to Levon, who has had some bouts of wildness early in this game that we haven't really seen this season.
Well, even in St. Louis, when he was throwing ball 1, ball 2, the pitches were so close it was a smaller strike zone. Here he's definitely missing. And it looks like so far, especially the top of the lineup anyways, the Pirate hitters have the game plan of kind of wait out Hernandez.
Popped up, shallow left, Murphy. They're waiting. Side retired. So Levon gets out of second inning trouble. A leadoff double, but the Pirates don't score. We go to the bottom of the second. David Wright. yesterday. And he fouls off the first offering from Ian Snell. Well, we are learning all of the
I like this. This is
players'
cool.
mothers' names today.
I get to see them occasionally in the tunnels when they're in town, and it's nice to know that there's a name there.
And that's nice because you hear David's father spoken about so often.
Exactly.
Police captain in Norfolk, Virginia, Ron Wright. But so often it's the moms who are as responsible for the baseball side of things as the dads are.
That's right. All those car rides, right?
Mm-hmm. Get you to practice on time, get you to the game on time.
I will have to say this, though, in my family, and I want to wish my mom a happy Mother's Day. In my family, my dad was a high school baseball coach, so he knows the game back. But the talent comes from my mother. My mother played softball, home run hitter, great arm. To this day, my mom can have a catch. Like, you literally can play catch. It's no problem for her.
That's very impressive. Adam LaRoche with the glasses down. Picks off Wright's foul pop-up for the first out. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt.
Guys, you were talking a lot about Major League Baseball, and today on Mother's Day, kind of putting out there the effort to defeat breast cancer along with the Susan J. Komen Foundation. Well, they also did another program. It was the Honorary Batgirl program done today. I'm sitting here with Patricia Colella, her daughter Andrea Colella, and what they did is you had to write an essay about someone who was affected with breast cancer. Patricia diagnosed stage 3 last year in March. She's doing great. I mean, look at her. She looks great. She feels great. And basically, you had to write an essay about a person who inspires you. Andrea did that. And you get the tickets to the game and all sorts of other cool little things to come out and celebrate Mother's Day here. So, along with the wristbands and the pink bats and the pink cleats, another nice thing for Major League Baseball to try to get the effort out there, the knowledge out there, to go get checked and things like that. And the lovely Patricia is living proof of that. Great to see you doing so well.
Much.
Guys, let's go back to you.
Thanks very much, Kevin.
Very nice, Kev.
Thank you to Patricia, and it's a great thing that Major League Baseball has done over these last few years to increase awareness for breast cancer research, trying to find a way to turn the tide.
Yeah, I really wish they had done it in our day, I'll tell you that. It's just a great thing.
2-2 to Daniel Murphy. And he swings and misses, and for a rare time, Daniel Murphy is down on strikes. Only the 8th time Murphy has struck out this season.
Well, you know what I'm looking at? Not only the pitch, but look at Diaz's stance. That reminds me of Tony Pena, Junior Ortiz, when they used to give that real low target. I honestly loved when a catcher did that. When we finally get Gary Carter, though, those knees wouldn't allow him to get that low.
Is that just a Pirates thing?
I don't know, but it's great. Great to see.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Omir Santos. Santos came on late yesterday after Ramon Castro's quad tightened up on him. And he fouls off that sinker. 0-2. By the way, Castro is okay and could play today if needed. More of a cramp than anything else in that quad yesterday. Ryan Church hitting 8th is on deck.
Let's see if Diaz when he gets to 1 strike. No, there he gets a little lower, the knee on the ground. But usually they'll save it, the catchers, for when it's 2 strikes, because what they're doing is letting the pitcher know, hey, I need this pitch in the dirt or low. Just reminding the pitcher to have it as low as they can.
Then conversely, you're asking for a high fastball, you might stand up.
That's right.
In there for a call, strike 3, and Santos down looking. So back-to-back strikeouts for Ian Snell. He's off to a good start. We head for the 3rd at Citi Field. The Pirates leading 1-0. on Duncan. Part of the batting order up for the Pirates in the third: Nate McLouth, Adam LaRoche, and Eric Hinsky against Livan Hernandez, still trying to get in some kind of rhythm this afternoon. And he gets ahead on McLouth, who had a sacrifice fly to drive in the only run of this game. Livan threw 48 pitches in the first 2 innings. And McLouth takes low 1-1. Nate McLouth, a Michigan native who, when he first came up, looked like he was basically a leadoff type hitter. And then all of a sudden last year became a power hitter.
He did. You're right. He just generated so much power out of that leadoff spot. They said, we're going to move him down, drive in some runs.
Hit toward the left field corner, a long run from Murphy, and it lands a fair ball. Bounces around in that corner. McLouth takes a turn at second and holds on there. And so it's a leadoff double for Nate McLouth. Third straight inning, the Pirates have led off with a hit.
Showed great power the opposite way. One hops just inside the line. Goes up against that wall, and that is in play.
Remember the day that we had Sandy Alomar Sr. Going over the ground rules, and they talked about that corner in left field and how that was in play on the foul side. So here's Adam LaRoche, who walked his first time up. 4 hits now off Livan Hernandez, who's had to pitch out of the stretch virtually the entire game.
Second inning in a row with a leadoff double.
He was able to get around Diaz's double in the second, but that was with the 8 and 9 hitters coming up. Now you got the 4 and 5 hitters. 2-0 to LaRoche. Popped it up, should be playable. Wright looking through the sunglasses. Tony Beasley, the third base coach, barely got out of the way, and that's the first out. Now, if David runs into the third base coach, is that considered interference?
I would call interference if he ran into the third base coach. But I guess as a third base coach, do you have to move your position?
I think you do.
I think so too.
Looked like Beasley got caught spectating there rather than vacating as he should have.
He's an old infielder. Maybe he wanted to make the play.
Tony used to be the third base coach in Washington under Frank Robinson a few years ago. So 1 away. McLeod still at second, and now Eric Hinsky, who struck out his first time up, and he fouls it off. And you know, this is indicative of a team that struggles. Each of the last 2 innings, the Pirates have gotten a leadoff double. Bixler struck out behind the double in the second, and now LaRoche pops up in the third, not advancing the runner either time.
Not only popping up, but swinging at the 2-0 pitch and hitting it the other way. I mean, popping up to the third baseman. I mean, not even trying to pull the baseball. That's now easier said than done. You know, I mean, I'm a former pitcher, not a hitter.
But it's all about approach, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, you have to be thinking, even if you're the cleanup hitter in that spot, because, you know, Adam LaRoche can hit a home run, but he's not a huge home run hitter. You know, on a team that's had a pop gun offense, you've got to be thinking about building a run.
Yes.
Well, housekeeping is going to be very important today. You want to do the housekeeping for Mom anyway on Mother's Day.
I would never touch that stuff on the field. Like, I'd let someone else pick it up. Not like that stuff in my pocket.
You're a bit of a germaphobe.
I am. I absolutely am.
2-1 to Hinsky. I mean, you know, you're out on the field getting dirty anyway.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But I don't know where that bag came from.
The dirt you can trust.
That's
the bag
right.
you can't.
That's right.
Andy LaRoche on deck. 1-0 Pirates. We're in the third. A very slow-moving game. A leisurely pace. And he walks. Hinsky does Livan Hernandez, and that's the third walk that Livan has given up. Remember, he had only walked a total of 8 batters in his first 5 starts this year. So now 2 on for Andy LaRoche. Pirates have had multiple base runners each of the first 3 innings, but they've gone just 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. LaRoche has swung the bat as well as any Pirate in this series. A couple of doubles yesterday, and he takes a slider off the plate for ball one. Andy came over from the Dodgers last summer.
Well, that's something that Jerry Manuel has wanted Jose Reyes to do, take a little more charge, coming in here to speak to Hernandez.
There's a nice little emphatic get going there. Little roller. Leavano feels his position well, gets the tag on Andy LaRoche for the second out as the runners move to second and third. So one unassisted on the putout.
Like we said, Levan moves very well. Doesn't take any chance for the throw, gets the tag.
The guy who pitched when you were around, who Levan reminds me of, is Rick Russell.
Yes, he does. And Russell's same kind of guy. He was, a big guy, probably 250, 260 pounds, 6'4". But he was a great fielder. Could hit. A lot of the things that Levan does.
Guys are very deceptive about the way they move around. So here's Robinson Diaz, who doubled into the right field corner his first time up. Second and third, 2 out. And he grounds one toward the right side. Base hit. In to score comes McLeod. Hinsky will be held at third as Ryan Church gets the ball in. That's very surprising with the number 8 hitter coming up, that Tony Beasley held up Hinsky at third base. It's 2-0 Pittsburgh. RBI single for Diaz.
Well, Levan's going to have to learn against Diaz. He's decided in this game he's going to hit the ball the other way. No chance for Castillo. And, of course, McLeod scores, but very interesting. I know Hinsky doesn't run very well, but when you're a team that's struggling to score runs, any chance you get, usually you're aggressive. But Tony knows his people better than I do, of course.
Hinsky at the beginning of his career ran okay for a big guy. He slowed down a little bit maybe. First and third and 2 down, and here's Bixler, who struck out his first time, and he foul tips the first one. 0-1. Bixler filling in for the injured Jack Wilson, who began his rehab on Friday night, and they hope to have Wilson back at his regular shortstop position on Tuesday. And Santos blocks that one, 1-1. When Levan is going out of the strike zone, he's missing badly. Already thrown 65 pitches, working in the third inning. And Bixler takes a cut. 1-2. Pitcher Ian Snell waiting on deck. Another inning in which Levan Hernandez is trying to limit the damage. Now he's 2-2 on Bixler. Hinsky is at third. Diaz at first with 2 down. Two. He struck him out. Levan Hernandez gets Brian Bixler for the second time, his 4th strikeout. The Pirates add a run on Diaz's 2-out single. And now Pittsburgh with a 2-0 lead. 3 and a marquee pitching matchup tomorrow. Johan Santana against Derek Lowe. Then Mike Pelfrey against Jair Jurgens Tuesday night. John Neese against Jojo Reyes on Wednesday afternoon before the Mets embark on a 10-game road trip to San Francisco, L.A., and Boston. And, of course, coverage begins half an hour before every SNY game. Here's Ryan Church to lead off in the home third inning. Mets down 2-0. And Ian Snell with a changeup to start him off. It has been a struggle for Ryan Church, whose mom is rooting him on. Ryan just 3 for his last 31. Hitting a .264 after a good start. And he pops one up. The shortstop Bixler making the call. And Church retired one away. And so far, the wind has not appeared to play much of a factor.
And I don't think the sun is either. Bixler never had to drop his sunglasses. He's got the old time shades, the flip downs.
So now Livan Hernandez will try and get something started. Livan looking for his first hit of the season. Has always been one of the better hitting pitchers in baseball. 9 career home runs. The Mets have had just one base runner thus far against Ian Snell. There was a 1-out single by Castillo that almost undressed Snell in the first. And Livan hits one in the air, shallow left. Bixler out. Morgan calls him off. 2 out.
Guys, I think those types of balls are the ones that are going to be affected today. I've been walking around the ballpark, and down here now where I am on the field where I was just a few moments ago in the 4th row, you honestly don't feel wind at all. So as you get higher, though, in the concourse and in the 2nd and 3rd decks, that's where the wind really starts to pick up. So I think really on those very high fly balls where it could be a problem, at least right now.
We'll follow that as the day goes along, but, you know, from judging the wind outside the stadium, which is enough to blow you over, you would have thought this was going to be a day when anything hit in the air was going to be blown around. And we've already had days like that at Citi Field this season.
Yeah, I was walking in the concourse today. The elevators were not on yet, and the wind was just whipping through the concourse. And it's going to be interesting to see if that'll affect maybe home runs or pushing the ball out of the ballpark.
2-0 now to Reyes. Jose hit a hard ground ball that Adam LaRoche was able to make the play on in the first inning. Things have been coming around for Jose over the last few days. Didn't hit the ball all that hard yesterday, but had 3 hits. There's a strike, 2-1.
Sometimes you're at bats when you make outs. I mean, in the first inning, he hit that ball awfully hard. Nice play by Adam LaRoche at first base.
Luis Castillo, who has the only hit for the Mets today, waits on deck. 2-2 to Reyes. Well, we've seen this from Ian Snell before. He has a tendency to dominate early in games. It's his 5th career start against the Mets, and all of them seem to have started out well. They just don't finish particularly well. He's never beaten the Mets. 0-1 with an ERA of over 6.5. Now starting the 2nd time through the order. Line, right center, base hit for Reyes. Chasing it toward the gap is Hinsky. Cuts it off. Reyes trying for 2. Hinsky's throw comes up short, and Reyes has a hustle double. 3rd double of the year for Reyes, the Mets' 2nd hit of the game.
Well, this is what you want to see from Jose as he starts going gap to gap. And nice play by Hinsky and good throw, but just the speed of Reyes, of course, for that hustle double. But multi-hit games, doubles, triples, that's what you want to see, and it's good hustle right here from Jose Reyes. And with 2 outs, you got to get to second base in scoring position.
That's the thing, taking that chance with 2 outs that you might not take at another time, which is what the Pirates didn't do in the top of the inning. Here's Castillo, who hit one right back through Snell for a base hit and then stole second in the opening inning. Castillo hitting .364 with runners in scoring position this year. There's a strike, 1-1. Nyjer Morgan playing extraordinarily shallow in left field, which is what you expect with Castillo up there. But during batting practice today, what did you see?
I saw him from the left side of the plate hit a ball that one-hopped the left field wall. I couldn't believe it. I stared at Louis. I stared out the fence. I stared back at Louis, because you usually don't see him have that kind of power to left field.
And maybe that has to do with the way the wind's blowing today. I mean, just watching the papers down on the field, they're kind of swirling around, but they're drifting a little bit toward left field. Carlos Beltran on deck. Slapped on the ground down to third, a foul ball. This place is extraordinary. I'm watching the papers on the outfield grass, and there are two pieces of paper at opposite ends of the field that are blowing toward each other. Now, that's just not supposed to happen. You see, those papers are going one direction, and then the other papers are going the opposite direction. But this is, this is the way it was at Shea too. The wind just blows 9 different ways at once, and where it goes depends on what part of the ballpark you're in. 2-2 to Castillo. And Louis bounces one down to first, and Adam LaRoche has the easy play to end the inning. So a 2-out double for Reyes. Mets can't cash him in. We're through 3 at Citi Field. 2-0 Pirates. Today's Pitcher's High Speed brought to you by Verizon. This is Fios. This is big. Big disparity there between he and Snell at 96 and Levon, who has briefly gotten to 87. Snell leads off against Levon in the top of the 4th inning. Snell struck out his first time up. It's been base runners galore for the Pirates over the first 3 innings. 5 hits and 3 walks, but only 2 runs. And Snell has himself a base hit, his 3rd hit of the season. And so for the 4th straight inning, the Pirates have a leadoff hit. Let's check in with Kevin.
See Daniel Murphy field that ball, guys, and you want to talk about Mother's Day and a mother that's had a huge impact in his life. Well, Daniel's mother, Sharon, certainly has. The only thing she ever did wrong, when he was about 5 years old, maybe 4, picked up a wiffle ball bat, picked it up, started to swing left-handed. She said, no, why don't you swing right-handed? And his dad had a heart attack. Said, no, stay left-handed. Other than that, she's been fantastic. She played softball and track in high school. So she's athletic, and she played catch with Daniel up until he was 15 years old. She could throw the ball. I went down to visit them during the offseason, and she's a lot of fun. She seems like the person that could cook you a great meal, take you to the park and hit your fungos, and then tuck you in at night. I mean, she's that type of woman. And here's all Murph had to say. Mama takes care of me. That's all you need to know. Guys.
Mama nurtured a hitter.
That's right. Whoa.
Left-handed, right-handed, doesn't really matter. Delgado holding against Snell, who's got some athletic ability for a pitcher. Can run a little bit. And Morgan pulls one foul.
That's a nice catch there on the rebound.
Those are great seats, by the way.
They are.
I mean, that low fence down there at the corners presents problems for outfielders and infielders converging on pop-ups, but it brings the fans so much closer to the field than they'd be otherwise. Morgan drops down a beauty of a bunt right with the bare hand play, and he's out at first base. Very close play. A terrific bunt by Morgan, who clearly was bunting for a hit, but will get credit for a sacrifice.
Well, nice play with the bare hand by David. Good job by Livan letting David catch that, and he looked like he was safe at first base. Let's check it again. Boy, that was tough. Good speed by Morgan down the line. It looked bang bang to me. I don't know about you, Gary.
And that ball also caught very awkwardly by Delgado, almost snow-coned it. 5-3 on the sacrifice, moving Snell to second. Ed Montague, by the way, the first base umpire today, the crew chief, making that call. Here's Delwyn Young, and he takes the changeup outside. Young is 1 for 2, single to left, fly to left. Young playing second base, giving Freddie Sanchez a day off. Well, Livan falls behind again 2-0, which is basically how his day has gone so far. Pirates have had runners in scoring position in every inning. Nate McLouth on deck. Toward the hole, Reyes running around the backhand, the long throw, and he got him! What a play by Jose Reyes! He winds up in foul territory down the left field line. That's how far he had to go for that ball. And he made a great throw.
A terrific arm, and that's a play you used to see a lot on the carpet when they had artificial turf. That one hopper to the first baseman. That's a great play, appreciated, of course, by Livan.
Reyes liked it, too. So 2 away. Snell still at second, and here's Nate McLouth, who's had a good day at the plate so far. Sacrifice fly to get the first run in, then an opposite field double, and he scored in the third.
Well, if I was Livan here, I'd be awfully careful with McLouth. McLouth is by far and away their best hitter. Really has a great idea up there. Coming off a double he hit in his last at bat. There's a base open. Adam LaRoche on deck.
And LaRoche really struggling right now, 1 for 25. So
got to know all those things when you're a pitcher on the mound. Who you want to push to? If you got a base open, do you want to pitch to McLouth or LaRoche?
You got Snell, the pitcher, running at second base. And it's well outside with the changeup. 2-1 to McLouth.
I'm wondering on this windy day if a guy like Livan Hernandez, as you see his pitch count, his game would be affected more than Ian Snell's. More of a power pitcher, and of course Livan is kind of a corners pitcher, changing speeds.
Gets even on McLouth, 2-2. Right now, if you're Livan Hernandez, you're just trying to negotiate the inning and hoping it can go 5-10. It has not been an easy day, but he's been able to keep his team in the game. Pirates have already stranded 6. And Livan trying to strand another one. 2-2. Hit to shortstop right at Reyes. And Reyes makes the play on McLouth to end the inning. So helped out by Reyes' defense, Livan again able to work around a leadoff hit. Middle of the 4th, heart of the batting order coming up. Mets down 2-0. high-speed internet through Time Warner Cable. The Mets send up the heart of the batting order in the bottom of the fourth, trailing 2-0. Ian Snell has held the Mets to 2 hits over the first 3 innings. He has not walked a batter, struck out 3. One of those strikeouts against Carlos Beltran, who leads off in the fourth. And Carlos hits one up the middle. Bixler, though, was playing over there, does the 360, and LaRoche handles the low throw for the first out. 1 away.
Well, they had the defense perfect against Beltran. That ball should be a hit up the middle. The Bixler playing there. And nice scoop there by LaRoche.
So 1 pitch and 1 entertaining out. And now here's Carlos Delgado, who grounded out his first time up. Carlos 2 nights ago hit a 425-foot shot to right center, and he thinks about the bunt with the shift on. First time we've seen Carlos do that this season. He's done it a couple of times in the past when they overshift against him. This, however, not the most drastic overshift that we've seen against Carlos. And Snell falls behind 2-0. Trying to get something started with his team down 2-0.
It's a good play.
It hasn't brought Andy LaRoche any further toward home plate, so he might not be buying it. David Wright on deck. On 2-0, Carlos hits one in the air to deep center field. Back goes McLeod to the warning track near the wall. It's off the fence. Delgado on his way to second, and he's in standing with a 1-out double. Now Carlos barely missed a home run to dead center.
Boy, that's high off the wall, just on the top of the padding. Nicely played here by McLeod. 2-0 right down the middle. And he thinks he's got it right now. Why wouldn't you? But this ballpark will hold a lot of home runs to center field.
Well, that fence in center field is about 12 feet high. It goes up as high as 16 feet in left field. But, you know, with an 8-foot fence like you had at Shea Stadium, that ball goes over. So now the tying run at the plate, 7th double of the year for Delgado. David Wright fouled out his first time up, and he takes the breaking ball low from Snell. So the Mets have their 3rd hit of the day. And I guess Carlos didn't need to bunt.
That's right.
Wright lays off, and Snell for the 2nd straight hitter behind 2-0, which is something he had been avoiding up until this point. Snell, coming into the day, had walked 23 batters, the 2nd most in the National League. 23 walks in 34 innings.
Well, last year, when he had a tough year, in 164 2/3 innings, he had 292 base runners. Put that in perspective. That's 2 base runners almost every inning of working. That's hard way to be successful.
And well, he wasn't last year. 7-12 with a 5.42 ERA.
Well, that's what you look at, the ERA. The 7-12, it's hard to judge when you're on a team that loses 100 games.
Now he's behind 2-0 on Wright with Daniel Murphy on deck. Let's see what David gets here. And he throws the fastball outside, and it's 3-0. So Snell, who has not walked anybody today, all of a sudden starting to fall behind hitter.
That's pitching coach Joe Kerrigan.
David doesn't often swing at 3-0. And he takes a strike, 3-1.
Well, one thing I'd do if I was the pitching coach for the Pirates with Snell is I would quicken up his pace a little bit. It's very hard to throw accurate strikes if you're working so slow. He's been looking Delgado back 2 and 3 times. Why even care? I mean, Delgado's at second base. You don't even have to look at him. Don't worry about him. Concentrate on the hitter.
On 3-1, Wright reaches for it and fouls off the slider. 3-2. He was staring Delgado down. That's a great point.
It's really hard to throw the ball where you want to accurately if you take so much time in between pitches. It just becomes so draining.
I think it's that with Carlos Delgado with his pants hiked up like that, he looks very runnerish.
He's faster. And all you have to do is watch, of course, best pitcher in the National League right now, Mr. Santana, and how quick he works out there.
3-2 to David Wright. And he hits one toward the hole. Bixler can't get it. Delgado being waved around as Bixler runs it down. He'll score without a throw. An RBI single for David Wright, and the Mets are on the board. It's 2-1 Pittsburgh.
Well, nice try here by Bixler, but very interesting. If he hadn't touched that ball, Delgado doesn't score, but he just got it off the end of the glove. Went about 20 feet into the outfield, not allowed Carlos to score.
And the question also is, with that ball hit in front of him, should Carlos have been running as he was? You might have gotten fortunate there that ball got through.
Absolutely. I think that, his read, obviously, was that Bixler was playing a little up the middle. And he saw that as a hit off the bat.
Turned out he was right, and he scores the Mets' first run. Now the tying run at first is Wright with Daniel Murphy at the plate.
See that defense, when you're taking the lead, you feel him on your back hip, your right hip. So when David pulls this, his read is that ball's going to be in the hole. But you're right, if Bixler comes up with that, he's got to play at third base.
And so Andy LaRoche moving to third, hoping for that play. 1-0 to Murphy, who struck out his first time up. But when you're right, you're right. And Delgado, it turned out, was right. He knew that ball was going through, and it did. And that enabled him to score the run, because if he holds up on that ball, then he's going to have to stop at third once it goes by Bixler.
And for you young guys at home, young guys and gals, that's what you do when you're on second base. You find out where the shortstop is. You don't want to know where the second baseman is, but also you're looking at your outfielders. Where are they playing? How deep are they playing? That'll help you on the read on the ball off the bat.
Wright runs. Murphy takes low. Diaz's throw, not in time. Stolen base for David Wright, his fifth of the year. And now the tying run is in scoring position.
Boy, the Mets in the last 7 games are just doing the kind of baseball, playing the kind of baseball that you love to see.
Well, the Mets have been lagging in stolen bases the first few weeks of the season, but they now lead the league in steals, which is where you expect them. That's the Mets' 25th steal of the season. They're second today. 2-0 to Murphy. Base hit could tie the game. And Daniel takes low, and again Snell working behind the hitters. It's 3-0.
Well, just like the Mets pitchers have been told in this 7-game winning streak, it's a cavernous ballpark. Throw strikes, make the people put it in play. Well, I think also the offenses learned that this is a big ballpark. You're going to have to steal bases. You're going to have to get multiple base hits. Can't always wait for the 3-run home run.
I don't think we've ever seen Murphy swing 3-0, and he takes a strike here.
Murphy should get a good pitch to hit here. Santos on deck.
Snell still has not walked a batter, but he was behind Delgado 2-0, behind Wright 3-0, behind Murphy 3-0. And on 3-1, Murphy fouls it away. And a full count to Daniel. Hernandez is going to manage this game, working in enormous trouble every inning, and yet he's held the Pirates to just 2 runs in the first 4 innings. And now the Mets trying to get him even.
The ease the tension in your arms. Saw Tatis raising his arms yesterday 2 or 3 times. With Daniel Murphy, it's a little different thing. He usually will just kind of flap his elbows together just to keep it and everything a little looser.
And ball 4 is in the dirt, and Murphy's aboard with Snell's first walk of the day. Kind of like the funky chicken.
There you go. Yeah, that's right.
Joe Kerrigan out to the mound, the Pirate pitching coach, to try and settle down Snell, who all of a sudden has run into a rough patch. Mets baseball is in full swing. Remember to put it on picks all season long to catch the big games you want to see. The Red Sox, the Phillies, the Yankees, they're all playing here. Don't miss an inning of amazing baseball all season long right here on Picks. So now Joe Kerrigan has said his piece. Joe last was a pitching coach in the major leagues 5 years ago with the Phillies, which is amazing considering all the success that he's had. But back in that role again with the Pirates, who got off to a great start with their pitching this year. They've struggled in this series. Now Santos with the tying and lead runs on base. Struck out his first time up, went down looking in the second. And he takes a slider in the dirt. The runners take off. And Diaz will eat it, second and third. Didn't get very far away, but aggressive base running by Wright and Murphy, and they move up on the wild pitch.
Well, this is what you don't want to see from your pitcher if you're a catcher. This is the first pitch to Santos. See that breaking ball that breaks in the dirt? That's what you want to throw with 2 strikes, not on the first strike. Nice try by Diaz, no play. David, of course, hustling with Murphy to take the extra bases, and the Mets worked on that in spring training. Anticipate that ball working away from the catcher.
And it's so much harder to block that ball when it hits home plate like that. It's bad luck for Diaz. Infield back, Santos fouls it off, and it's 1-1. So the Pirates will concede the tying run on a ground ball to a middle infielder.
Make a great point, Gary. When it hits the plate for a catcher, it skips. So it goes just a little quicker than it would when it hits in the dirt.
Santos with 6 runs batted in. And another one down that Diaz has to stop. 2-1. Anytime a pitcher pushes his cap back on his head like that, he looks beleaguered.
Only one to look cool doing that was Tom Terrific. Tom Seaver used to always put that hat on top of his head.
He never looked beleaguered.
Never, ever.
Still doesn't.
No.
Even when he's out in the vineyard for hours at a time, I'm sure. He looks cool, like he's in command.
That's right. There he is. Number 41.
Snell really slowing down the pace now, and Diaz is going to go out for a conversation.
The game is moving so slow, you'd think that each pitcher has 22 pitches, and they're going through the Rolodex of each one. Well, you know, they're talented. Mahala, we saw yesterday, he struggled. Duke has had some unbelievable games. Had an unbelievable rookie season when he first came up. He struggled since then. Snell, you're watching. Ross Allendorf came over from the Yankees, a Princeton grad. He's pitching much better this year. And Carson's pitched well on Friday night.
Starting pitching is not their problem. Now, though, Snell is behind on Santos 3-0 with Ryan Church standing on deck. So you would figure Santos to get something to hit here. As cold as Church has been, I don't think Snell wants to face the left-hand hitter with the bases loaded. And strike 3-2.
94-mile-an-hour fastball. And he's kind of fooling around, throwing the ball in the dirt, and lots of breaking pitches. World of talent. Sometimes not always used in the correct way as the infield comes in here with 2 strikes.
3-2 to Santos. Goes the other way into right field, base hit. And the Mets will take the lead. Wright comes in to score. Murphy right behind him. Santos heads to second. Hinsky's throw gets him at second base. But 2-run score, and the Mets take a 3-2 lead. Santos drives home a pair, out trying to stretch it into a double. But Wright and Murphy come home to give the Mets the lead.
Well, Mr. Santos hasn't done a lot wrong since he's come up to play for the Mets. Nice hitting there, fastball away. And we've seen that really is one of his strengths in his hitting, is to hit the opposite way. Both runners are going to score easy, of course. And nice play by Hinsky, and I like this aggressive play by Santos.
Nets have been taking the extra base all day. That time Hinske made the good throw to get Santos at second. 2 out and nobody on. Ryan Church takes a strike.
He's digging, but just a perfect throw it took from Hinske. That's one of those things that he might have got his foot in there, but the ball beat him. And
Bixler had the tag close enough.
Let's see how that foot gets. Wow. Kind of bang, bang. Great shot.
Out. Jerry Lane with the call at second base. Oh, and 2 to Ryan Church. Well, it all started with Delgado's double off the wall to center field. David Wright snuck one through the hole at short to get Delgado in. Murphy walked. A wild pitch moved the runners up, and Santos got them both home with his opposite field hit. Church pops it up. LaRoche and Bixler. Bixler calling, and that ends the inning. But the Mets put up 3 against Ian Snell in the bottom of the 4th to grab the lead. The first run of the game brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. And for that matter, runs 2 and 3 as well. Wagner? By the way, Billy hopes to be back at some point this season. Can you imagine the bullpen the Mets will have?
Wow.
With Wagner joining as, say, like a situational lefty?
Wow, that'd be unbelievable.
So now the Mets have the lead for the first time for Livan Hernandez, who's already thrown 82 pitches over 4 innings. Adam LaRoche leads off the 5th. LaRoche has walked and fouled out to third. And he hits the first pitch in the air to center field. Beltran started out, now in. Reyes goes back, and he'll make the play. Beltran was fooled by that ball, but Reyes not. 1 pitch and 1 out. And now Eric Hinske, who made that nice throw from right field to cut down Omir Santos at second base. Hinske has struck out and walked 0 for 1. Hinske starting his 11th game for the Pirates this year. This is a team that was probably going to be offensively challenged anyway.
Yeah.
But once Ryan Domit got hurt, the big catcher,
Jack Wilson.
Yeah. Well, they'll get Wilson back, but Domit's out for a couple of months. And he was really a big piece of their batting order.
He could hit. But, you know, the catchers, both Jaramillo and Diaz, have done a nice job average-wise. Now, they don't have a lot of pop, but they've done a nice job of the hits. And Diaz today with a couple of hits and runs batted in.
See what the Pirates have done lately during this stretch in which they've lost 11 of 12. Their offense just disappeared under 3 runs a game. Toward the middle and a base hit for Hinske. Castillo was playing well over in the hole against the left-hand batter. Couldn't reach that. And so the Pirates have their 7th hit off Livan Hernandez.
Well, playing him to pull, but you know what you like to see? You like to see the hustle. I like that. The dive by Castillo. He knows Hinske doesn't run that well.
Well, it's the first inning in which Livan retired the leadoff hitter, but now he gives up the 1-out hit to Hinske. And now Andy LaRoche, who's hit the ball on the ground twice, 0 for 2. And a bunt. Livan off the mound to barehanded. And he gets LaRoche at first base. Well, they tested Livan twice in this game, and this time he makes the play and throws out Andy LaRoche.
Nice job by Livan, just getting over there, off balance, making the throw. He is quick as a cat, I'm telling you, and just a really good fielder.
And again, they're going to give a sacrifice to LaRoche in a situation where he clearly was bunting for a hit. This has become an epidemic among official scorers. There is a line in the scoring rules that says you should give the hitter the benefit of the doubt as to whether he gets a sacrifice or not. But there's no doubt with 1 out, a runner at first, and the way LaRoche laid that bunt down, that he was not bunting to sacrifice.
There was no doubt that he wanted the benefit of a hit.
So I don't know why it has happened, but this has happened half a dozen times at least this year, where guys who should not be getting sacrifices are getting them. And I guess if you get them in one city, guys expect to get them in every city.
Well, I think also, you know, he has the power to hit a home run. He should be trying to drive the ball in that situation. And the second thing is that it breeds bad play. That's what it'll do. Because now you have a freebie. You have a free at bat.
That's a good point. Robinson Diaz with the soft liner, reeled in by Castillo, and that ends the inning. So Livan Hernandez gets the lead and holds it halfway through, 3-2. He's the best attraction in baseball, and he'll be on the mound for the Mets tomorrow night. Johan Santana against the guy the Mets decided was not worth a 4th year, Derek Lowe, who will pitch for the Atlanta Braves.
Love that music. That's like the Emperor is coming.
Sounded more like the battle being joined. There you see the numbers so far this year on Santana and Lowe, and Santana's just been off the charts great.
And the ERA is elevated for Lowe because he had a bad start his last start.
Livan Hernandez has his first hit of the season. Nigel Morgan does a nice job cutting it off and holding Livan to a single.
Devon makes the nice play on the bunt play. Now the smoke this line drive. Almost pushed this past Morgan. Didn't have that great speed.
Fortunate to be left-handed. So Levon has his first hit as a Met, and now Jose Reyes, who doubled to right center his last time up, will come to bat. That's leading 3-2 in the bottom of the fifth. Didn't look like Levon would be able to go past 5 today, but he had a very quick fifth inning, and that's going to keep him around for the sixth. And very interesting conversation today with Jerry Manuel about how he's going to use his bullpen that has been so good. Right now he's got an embarrassment of riches out there. Everybody except Sean Green is pitching very well. And the latest to establish himself, Ken Takahashi, who's made only 3 appearances but has been spotless. And with the starters pitching as well as they are, the question is, how do you get all those guys work?
Well, that really is the key, is that at some point, if your starters are going deep into the game, which they have been, 6 and into the 7th inning, then really you only have an inning to use a lot of those pitchers you have out there, because Putz is the 8th inning guy, Rodriguez is the 9th inning guy.
Reyes figuring he can get himself a quick sacrifice, and it's 1-2.
Although this is a different circumstance. This would be a good play here. Try to add on a run.
It's on exchanging pleasantries with Ed Montague there, with Castillo on deck.
You know, baseball is a very streaky game, even with your rotation. And sometimes, you know, you have 2 starters have a tough start back to back, and all of a sudden you don't have all those arms out there.
1-2 to Reyes, and he fists one foul. Well, yesterday Brian Stokes came out of exile.
He did.
After 10 days on the sidelines, he finally got an inning, finished the game in the 9th inning in a lopsided game.
When Jerry was asked how did he think the game was managed yesterday, he said, my guys did a great job. Dan Warthen took care of the pitching. Sandy did a nice job of getting some guys some rest. Reyes came out early. Delgado.
Snell's 1-2. Tapper to third. Andy LaRoche gets the force. No chance to get Reyes at first. And so the Mets will take that exchange, get Levon off the bases, and put Reyes aboard with 1 out. Yeah, Jerry wasn't doing any second guessing.
No, he said, what did he say? My guys looked really good yesterday.
Yeah, he went 10-1.
That's right.
In fact, you know, baseball is a superstitious enough game. I'm only slightly surprised that Jerry didn't insist on staying upstairs today.
Right.
I guess he figured he already had 5 straight wins in the books before Sandy and Dan took over yesterday. So here's Castillo, 1 for 2, single to center, stole a base in the first. And he takes a strike. Braves now lead the Phillies 3-2 in the 7th at Citizens Bank Park. Casey Kochman, a 2-run single to put Atlanta in front after the Braves won yesterday. And Brian McCann returned this weekend with his glasses, hit a home run last night.
What do you do, scratch his cornea or?
Grounded to short, might be 2 if they hurry. Bixler gets the out at second, but no relay by Young. And Castillo is aboard. So a 2-out fielder's choice opportunity now for Beltran. They just said he had dry eyes, and he was struggling with his contact lenses. I think that Brian's going to opt for laser surgery after the season, but you don't want to do that during the year.
You know, it's interesting. I suffer from allergies, and I would go through periods of time when, I don't know if the shape of your eyeball changes or whatever, but I would go through a month every season where my contact lenses felt very fuzzy in there, did not feel good. So maybe the same reaction he had.
So now Beltran, who's 0 for 2, struck out and grounded out. McCann got new special sports glasses, and the first night, Friday night, he wore the hockey style mask, but he found that not enough air got in, and so his glasses were fogging up. So last night he went back to his regular catcher's mask, and he said that was better.
Hard enough to catch 95-mile-an-hour heat without foggy glasses.
There have been catchers with glasses before. Darrell Porter was famously. And, you know, Ramon Castro wears sunglasses back there on day games. which I've always found to be odd, since you're facing away from the sun most of the time.
Well, you have umpires now that wear sunglasses, which I find funny. When you were a kid, you made fun of umpires who wore glasses because you're saying that they had bad eyesight.
Well, it's like you said earlier, we're a much more sensitive society than we used to be.
There you go. Chris Cuccione has the sunglasses, cutting down the glare. Eddie Montague, the crew chief. Jerry Lane, all the way around.
And nobody knows if they're prescription. Taken for a strike by Beltran, 1-1.
I have to say, this is a pretty solid crew. This Randazzo, third base.
And Snell spending a lot of time concerned about Castillo at first base. 3-2 New York. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Beltran gets the breaking ball and fouls it off. 1-2. Which is probably not where Snell wanted it.
Well, you saw Diaz, as soon as he got the extra ball, he told him, down. You got to get that pitch down. I like Diaz. He's really done a nice job behind the plate. He's imploring his pitchers to throw to spots. He's trying to run the game, and that's the thing you love to see from a young catcher.
Guy's been 7 years in the minor leagues after signing with the Blue Jays initially, and that fastball high, and Diaz throwing behind Castillo, who was alert. Diaz went from the Blue Jays to the Pirates in a trade last summer, so he's relatively new to the Pirates organization. Began the year in the minors, but called up when Ryan Domit got hurt. It's awfully tough, you would think, to have two rookie catchers sharing that job, which the Pirates have now with Jason Jaramillo and Robinson Diaz. Two to Beltran, and that's wide. So now Castillo will get the automatic start with 3-2 and 2 down. Beltran's bat has been in the pink all year. Hitting a .372 and leading the league. Castillo gets set to run, and Beltran pops it up right in the middle of the infield. Who's going to take it? Adam LaRoche taking charge. Nobody else saw it, and Adam LaRoche able to squeeze it. The middle infielders squinting up at the sky, couldn't find that ball. Livan Hernandez back to the mound for the 6th, leading. New York State Smokers Quit Line. Well, Pedro Feliciano has had a couple of days of rest. In fact, 3 straight days since he's been in a game. Brian Bixler leads off in the 6th inning and takes a strike.
I don't think they even call for Pedro to get up. It's like Pavlov's dog. He just gets up every day. It's about that time.
Perpetual Pedro.
That's right.
Bixler leading off. The pitcher is due up next, and for the moment, Snell is out on deck. 0-2 to Bixler, who has struck out each of his first 2 at-bats. Snell's only thrown 86 pitches, and other than the 1 bad inning in the 4th, has done okay, so it looks like they're ready to push him to another inning. I'd love for Bixler to get on so he can bunt, but Bixler's looked a little overmatched today.
Doesn't it seem like he's thrown more than 86 pitches? Just that
it's just a lot of the time between pitches.
Yes, there we go.
0-2, and Bixler down swinging again 3 times in a row, and this time Levon had him tied in knots. 5 strikeouts now for Levon.
And really, that's been the same pitch every time. This little slider away and down. Using that intelligence that Levon has. Keep going to that spot with young hitters until they show you they can put it in play.
So 1 out in the 6th. Now Snell, who had a base hit his last time up. Now 3 for 13 on the season. So each pitcher has a hit. Yesterday, Nate McLouth accounted for the only Pittsburgh run with a home run. And Elias put out a very interesting stat today regarding that.
Did you say McLouth or Mahalem?
Mahalem.
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
Okay.
My mistake.
That's right.
Paul Mahalem's home run yesterday was the 14th. The 14th that the Mets have allowed to a pitcher since the start of the 2005 season. And if it sounds like a lot, it is. Grounded slowly, 2-2. No other major league team has allowed more than 10 home runs to a pitcher over the last 5 years, and the Mets have allowed 14. But here's a corollary note, and this comes from our friends at MetsWalkoffs.com. Reached for and tapped past the mound, but plenty of time for Castillo to get Snell for the second out. Here's the Mahalem home run from yesterday, and he clouded it.
Little hanging slider from John Maine. A look of disgust. I've been there.
But this was the 43rd time that the Mets have given up a home run to the opposing pitcher in their home ballpark, whether the Polo Grounds, Shea, now Citi Field. 43 times in 48 years they've allowed a home run to the opposing pitcher at home. It's only the 3rd time in those 43 games that the Mets have won the game.
Wow.
Here's Nyjer Morgan with 2 out and nobody on.
I was one of those 40. At Shea, rookie pitcher. Derek Lilliquist had 2 home runs off me in one game. I don't know how many runs I gave up. It was a million.
You didn't win.
No, I was one of the 40. Yeah, the losses.
And Morgan takes a strike, 1-1. You see the pitch count on Levon. He's been able to limit it lately after that very difficult first inning when he allowed 1 run. He also allowed a run in the 3rd. Change up to Morgan, 2-1.
Earlier in his career, Livan Hernandez was a guy that routinely would throw 125 to 140 pitches, and sometimes he'd get stronger as he went along. You can see he's hit the century mark now. I don't know if he's there anymore, though.
First time this season he's gone to 100 pitches. He threw 99 in his first start in Florida. But yeah, when he was in Montreal and Washington, he'd go out there and throw 135 routinely.
Well, he knew that they had a pretty good closer, but they didn't have a lot of intermediary relievers, so he knew the best way for him to win a game was to stay in the game. And Frank Robinson was his manager, old school manager, did not mind leaving him out there.
Now behind on Morgan, 3-1. And he picks off the corner, 3-2.
I did a game with Livan through a complete game, 147 pitches. And he was just as good at the end as he was in the beginning.
I don't see that much anymore. 3-2 to Morgan. And he walked him. So a 2-out walk. The 4th of the afternoon issued by Levon. And we'll see how much further Jerry Manuel wants to go with him. You got the switch hitting Delwyn Young coming up, and then the left-hand hitting Nate McLouth. So maybe one more batter here for Levon, with Feliciano ready for McLouth if necessary.
When you see a reliever out there looking bemused, it's because he knows he's managing in his own head what Jerry's going to do, and Pedro's got to think that he will have McLouth if Hernandez is not able to get Young.
Young is 1 for 3 on the day. By the way, you know how they didn't used to keep track of pitch counts nearly the way they do now.
Yeah.
And for a lot of games that we remember in the past, we don't even know what the pitch counts were. There goes Morgan. Santos' throw on the money, and he got him. Omir Santos guns down Nyjer Morgan to end the inning. 2-6 on the caught stealing, and that gets Livan Hernandez through the top of the 6th. The Mets come up in the bottom of the 6th now with Delgado to lead off, leading 3-2. Right now to give them a 3-2 lead. Ian Snell still out there throwing, and Carlos Delgado leads off the home 6th.
Well, this 2-0 pitch from Snell, almost out of the ballpark by Delgado. Started that big inning, though.
Delgado then came home on the base hit by David Wright that went off the glove of the shortstop Bixler. And then Wright scored, as did Daniel Murphy on Omir Santos' hit. Santos had a big role in this game. 2-1 now to Delgado. Right before the break, I was talking about pitch counts. I remember in 1977, a friend of mine and I went cross country, and we wound up one night in Anaheim watching Nolan Ryan pitch against the Toronto Blue Jays. Nolan lost the game 3-1. Went the distance, gave up 7 hits, walked 9, struck out 13. Now, I just looked the game up on baseballreference.com because I wanted to see if they had a pitch count, but they don't have one.
Wow.
Now, how many pitches do you suppose he threw that day?
He's up in the 170s, I bet.
At least, right? Inside, and Delgado gets nailed. I'll tell you what, it's amazing with the amount of pitches that pitchers try and throw inside to Delgado that he doesn't get hit once a day.
Well, this one gets him in the leg, I believe. Behind him. Wow, right off that outside of the knee. 94 miles an hour off your knee. That's going to be painful about an hour from now. Well, it's painful now, but even more so later.
Wow. That's a solid sound right there. 4th time that Delgado's been hit this year, and the first batter that Snell has hit. So the Mets have the leadoff man on for the 2nd straight inning. And now David Wright. And David takes a strike. David drove in the first Met run, his 18th run batted in of the season, and his 9th in the last 7 games.
How many did you say Longoria has? 44?
44. 44. The Rays have played 32 games. Hack Wilson, watch out.
Yeah, exactly.
Major League record is 190 runs batted in, set by Hack Wilson. The American League record 184 by Lou Gehrig. Right now, Longoria is on a pace.
Did you say 191 by Hack Wilson? Wasn't it 190 for years and years, and then they added one?
And then they took it away again, I think. Right now, Longoria is on a pace for 223.
Wow.
He probably won't get there, but 200 would be good.
Yeah.
In tight to right. And Snell coming up and in at 94.
Stands David straight out. That ball's supposed to be away, down and away, and the pitch up and in.
Snell up to 95 pitches on the afternoon, and now consistently working behind the hitters. 3-1 to right, and David takes the big hack, and it's 3-2.
It's an angry hack right there. When someone throws up and in, brushes you off the plate, you can't wait to hit the next one about 1,000 feet.
You don't expect Delgado to be running. 3-2, nobody out. Wright has already struck out 33 times this year, and make it 34 as Snell picks up the strikeout. It's his 4th of the game, but his first since the 2nd inning. And that's the first out of the 6th. So 1 out and 1 on. Now Daniel Murphy, who struck out in the 2nd, then walked in the middle of the Mets' 3-run rally in the 4th. Sean Burnett, the left-hander who gave up that bomb to Delgado on Friday night, is up on the other side of the fence. One out and 1 on for Murphy. And he hits it in the air to left field. Morgan's tracking it. So 2 out, and Delgado goes back to first. And that'll bring up Omir Santos. Mets trailed 2-1 when Santos came to bat in the 4th inning. A wild pitch moved the runners to 2nd and 3rd, and Santos delivered them both, the tying and go-ahead runs. Then he threw out Morgan, trying to steal to end the top of the 6th, as the Pirates were trying to get the tying run into scoring position. So a good day for Santos. Getting the start today after Ramon Castro left yesterday's game with a tight quad. By the way, the hope had been that Brian Schneider would be ready to start rehab games tomorrow. That is not going to happen. Schneider is not even running yet, trying to come back from both a back problem and, more significantly now, a calf problem. So it's going to be a while longer before Schneider's even close to coming back. And that means more opportunities for Santos as Snell bounces that pickoff throw. He's going to blame it on the baseball. He wants a new one.
See, these are the little things about managing your game. If you watch the hit, though, big hit by Santos the other way. Omir Santos is a fun player to watch because, you might not, you don't say he's got the best arm. He might not be the best hitter, but he gets big hits and he throws people out in big situations.
He's got a lot of enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm, and he's a winning player.
I waited a long time for a big league shot. Got a little cup of coffee with the Orioles last year. Impressed during spring training this year. Getting a chance to play. Hit for some power. And when the Mets needed to call up a catcher, he was the first guy they called. And that was not necessarily going to be the case going into spring training. After all, Robinson Cancel played for the Mets last year. They've got Josh Tolley down there, who's considered a prospect. Santos swinging at a pitch in the dirt. 1-2. But it was Santos who impressed the coaching staff enough during spring training that he was the first guy who got the call. And sometimes in this game, it's just a matter of getting the opportunity.
And when you get your opportunity, making the most of it. It's interesting. If he had come up and it was Castro was hurt, and Schneider was the one playing every day. I wonder if he would have got any time to play.
And he goes down swinging on a pitch in the dirt. That'll do it for the Mets in the 6th inning. 5 strikeouts for Ian Snell. Through 6 now at Citi Field, 3-2 New York. Great seats and a great time. Visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX for your printed home tickets now. Perpetual Pedro Feliciano will come on to pitch as we go to the 7th inning.
Well, nice job by Livan Hernandez. 6 strong innings, only a couple of runs, and Pedro in to relieve him. And just like Jerry said, these are the games that they'll try to use their bullpen to get through the 7th inning. Then you got Puts and Rodriguez.
It'll be Delwyn Young, the switch hitter, and then the 2 left-hand hitters, Nate McLouth and Adam LaRoche, to face Feliciano with Bobby Parnell staying ready. Young is 1 for 3. He was at the plate when Morgan was cut down trying to steal to end the 6th. But a nice job by Livan Hernandez, who had all sorts of problems early in the game, but was able to work himself out of some big jams. Lifted to left center, falling fast, and that'll land for a base hit. Beltran has to come over to play it, and Delwyn Young, after a wide turn, holds on with a leadoff single.
Well, this ball fooled both Beltran and Murphy as it was hit off the end of the bat, just perfectly placed by Young. That ball was in the air a long time, but just perfectly placed. I think even Young thought it was going to be an out. We're going to teach him the hockey skate and stop.
Get the man some spikes. So here's Nate McLouth. A sacrifice fly to drive in a run and a double, and he scored a run. Those are the only 2 the Pirates have picked up today. Tying run at first, and he tries to bunt and fouls it off. And again, a guy, not squaring to sacrifice, but rather trying to bunt for a base hit.
It's not as good of a play when you have the first baseman holding on the runner because he's closer to you. He's already artificially in. And you're the best home run hitter.
That's the other thing. I mean, it's not as though McLouth is a give up against lefties. He's an everyday player. McLouth last year hit 4 of his 27 home runs against lefties, and he hit .261 against lefties. Pops this one up foul, another go out of play.
Pedro's happy to have that one back. That 0-2 curveball caught too much of the plate.
Cloud had a home run against Feliciano last year. 0-2, and the breaking ball wide, 1-2. Aiden Cloud, the Michigan native, was all set to be a Wolverine before he signed.
He's like Mr. Baseball, wasn't he, in Michigan, a schoolboy player?
Tying run at first and nobody out. 7th inning. And that breaking ball just off the plate, 2-2. Livan Hernandez wound up going 6 innings. He allowed 2 runs and 7 hits, walked 4, struck out 5, and leaves with the lead. Chance for his 3rd win of the year. Arnell staying ready. Got another left-hand hitter on deck in LaRoche. 2-2. That's on the outside corner. Strike 3 call. McLeod down looking, 1 away.
Well, that's a good choice by Feliciano. After all those breaking balls, came with a good hard fastball right on the corner. Nice framing by Omir Santos.
So 1 out and 1 on, and now Adam LaRoche, who's gone 0 for 2 today, popped up twice. Now 1 for his last 26, dropping that average to 227 on the year. LaRoche just 2 for 12 in his career against Feliciano. And he takes that one wide, ball 1. The fans, as you see, are doing the wave.
It's interesting, LaRoche has always been a slow starter, but he's a streaky hitter anyways. When he gets on hot streaks, you can't get him out. And when he's in these streaks, he seems like an easy out.
Lifted to left. Murphy started back, now in. And that's the 2nd out. Back to first goes Delwyn Young. One thing about LaRoche is he's normally a terrible starter, but he got off to a pretty good start this year. But now he just can't find his way out of the wilderness. So now Hinske, another left-hand hitter. Hinske has walked and singled, 1 for 2.
The problem with this lineup here for John Russell and his Pirates is that Feliciano is able to stay in to face the 3 lefties. Arnell stays in the bullpen.
You got the right-hand hitters after this with Andy LaRoche and Robinson Diaz. Ball 1 to Hinske. And now Feliciano behind 2-0.
Francisco Rodriguez getting loose, stretching that elbow, shoulder.
He's had a couple of days to rest after his 4 straight saves. There's a strike to Hinske, 2-1. 4 saves in 4 days, only the 2nd time a Met has ever done that. And now, well, I guess K-Rod should be ready to do it again in the next 4 days. Got the Braves coming in for 3 starting tomorrow night. Hinske grounds one past the mound. Castillo right there to play it. And that'll do it for the Pirates in the top of the 7th. A leadoff single, but nothing else against Feliciano's 7th inning stretch. 3-2 New York. Special event baseball tomorrow. Johan Santana against Derek Lowe, 6:30 the coverage on SNY for the opener of the 3 games between the Mets and the Braves. This tour of Citi Field is brought to you by EMCO. Fans have been up and stretching. Big day for the families on Mother's Day, and there are moms all over the ballpark. Bringing mom to the ballpark on Mother's Day, I think, has become much more popular than it was back when I was a kid.
Well, your lovely mom was in the ballpark today.
She is, and she always loved to come to the ball game, but I don't ever recall coming here on Mother's Day.
Yeah. Well, Sean Burnett, who's been awfully tough on lefty, just not in this series, as Delgado got him for a 3-run home run. But last year, left-handers hit only 171 off him, so here to face Ryan Church.
They gave up the homer to Delgado, also a double to Daniel Murphy in that game on Friday night. But Burnett comes on here to face Church, and then the Mets will have Alex Cora to pinch hit, which is an interesting call with all the right-hand hitters they have in the dugout. Church has been up twice, popped to short both times as his hitting woes continue, and so he tries to lay down a bunt and fouls it off. Not a bad idea to try and get you out of a slump. JJ puts up in the bullpen, ready to pitch the 8th inning. So the Mets have it lined up now, having gotten a good inning out of Feliciano. There's Cora to follow, and then Jose Reyes here in the bottom of the 7th.
You know, I got to spend an entire season in 2005 watching Ryan hit, and when he's facing left-handers and he's hitting the ball the other way, that's when he's on top of his game. Because we saw early in the season when he was hot, and he got some fortunate hits, some infield hits, and some broken bat hits, but he was still going the other way, and I think that's been less so here through this slump.
The other thing that I know Howard Johnson has been working with Church on against all types of pitching is not to hit the ball in the air quite as much.
Yeah, he hitting the ball in the air just is not a good recipe for him. He's when he's going good, he's a top hand guy, and when he's going bad, he drops that back shoulder and gets underneath the baseball. All things that he knows, but trying to fix them against Major League pitching is the hardest thing to do.
Sometimes what works in the cage doesn't work with 40,000 watching. One-two to Church. He lays off that slider, and it's 2-2. And he even does the housekeeping, grabbing the baseball and tossing it out of play.
Only in this ballpark, the Ramones sound great, don't they?
Queens boys, they belong here.
Blitzkrieg bop.
Check swing. Did he go? Nope, held in time. Tony Randazzo with the call, and it's 3-2 to Church.
Well, good pitch here by Burnett. Ties Ryan up inside. Strong enough to hold that bat back.
So good at bat here for Church. Able to lay off some tough pitches and get to 3-2. Well, he grounds one toward the middle, and over goes Delwyn Young to get in front of it. Throws across his body just in time to get Church for the first out. So one away. Now Cora had been out on deck, but he's going back in the dugout. We're going to get Gary Sheffield instead. I guess Cora was up there to bunt if Church had gotten on. But with the lefty on the mound and the bases empty, the slugging Sheffield, who had a couple of hits yesterday, will get the call.
That's had, 7 different players yesterday, Gary, with 2 hits or more?
Top 7 guys in the lineup.
Wow.
So Sheffield will come up against Sean Burnett. Sheffield drew a walk facing Burnett in the 8th inning on Friday. They've gone to the bottom of the 9th in Philadelphia. The Braves lead the Phillies 4-2. The Braves will bus up to New York after that game. and be here tomorrow night at Citi Field. Braves have been playing better the last couple of days since the Mets saw them and swept a 2-game series in Atlanta. And having Brian McCann back in the lineup is a huge boon for them.
Well, it gives them that fourth place hitter that they've been lacking. Casey Kochman's hitting that fourth slot while he was gone, and they've got a lead today.
2-0 to Sheffield with Reyes to follow.
It's always challenging to be a pinch hitter, but less so now than it used to be when you used to have to grab a bat and get loose on the on-deck circle. Guys now 50 feet up the runway is the batting cage. You can anticipate that you're going to be used, go back there and get a few swings.
I mean, literally, you walk out that tunnel on the far end of the dugout, 10 steps, and you're in the batting cage. And they've got 2 full setups there, so 2 guys can work at once. They've even got a sprint track where you can loosen up your legs.
It's the golden age, Gary. It's the golden age, I'm telling you.
3-1 to Sheffield. He pops one up foul. That'll come back out of play. And if you need to get yourself loose in the pool, they've got a pool where you can run in the
That's
pool,
right.
and it
like rehabilitation, right? You know what I saw yesterday? Into the kitchen. They have their own kitchen in the clubhouse. That's unbelievable.
Well, Teresa down there makes the best food in the world.
So nice people, too.
3-2, grounded to the left side. Bixler has it go off his glove, and Sheffield's aboard. Rough day for Brian Bixler. Struck out 3 times, and now the second one that's gone off his glove.
Interesting. It almost looked to me like he was getting ready to rush that throw over to first base. He had plenty of time to set, and looking at that glove, how did that not go in the mesh?
Error charged to Bixler gives the Mets a 1-out base runner, and the Pirates can't get Jack Wilson back fast enough. I mean, Wilson is not only a good player, he's not a great player. He's not only a good player, he's also he's a guts and glory guy. I mean, he's an older guy, and he's someone that this Pirate team desperately needs right now.
He's a uniform, dirty guy, gritty player. Reminds me a little bit of David Eckstein, a little bit in the way he has his approach towards the game. Does all the little things well.
Reyes 1 for 3, double to right center back in the third. Now he drives one to right field, and that falls in front of Hemsky for a base hit. Sheffield pulls in at second, and the Mets have 2 men on.
You know that Jose's starting to get hot because he's getting a couple of hits in games. That's 2 in today's ball game, 3 yesterday. He had 64 multi-hit games last year. That led the National League.
So now Castillo, who's 1 for 3, had a base hit and stole a base back in the first. Mets leading 3-2 and looking for some extra here in the bottom of the 7th before handing it off to J.J. Putz for the 8th. Robinson Diaz out front of home plate, flashing signals to the infield. And Castillo takes wide for ball 1. When the catcher steps out, is that mostly about what they're going to do on the stolen base?
What they're going to do on the stolen base. It's also what they're going to do. They might be changing signs with the pitcher, letting the infield know what sign they're going to so they can cheat on maybe a changeup or a breaking ball.
Just off the plate, and now Burnett behind on Castillo, 2-0 with Beltran looming on deck. So Jesse Chavez, the right-hander, starting to loosen up for the Pirates in the bullpen. On 2-0, Castillo takes a strike. They're very shallow in the outfield and playing toward right against Castillo, but every once in a while, batting right-handed, he will turn on a ball.
Look at Nigel Morgan. He's playing in the left center field gap. And right-handed, you're right, Gary. He has power down the line.
And he hits one up the middle, base hit. Sheffield to third, being waved home by Razor Shines. Here comes McLeod's throw to the plate. It's cut off. An RBI single for Luis Castillo, and it's 4-2 New York. So the Mets take advantage of the Bixler error to add an extra run.
Well, Luis Castillo has been nails all season long with runners in scoring position. Ball hit very sharply, and with McLeod playing over to right field, had to get this ball, and by the time he got it, Sheffield scores easily.
So Castillo drives in his 8th run of the year. And now 2 aboard for Beltran, with the Mets having tacked on a run here in the 7th and a chance for a whole lot more. Beltran 0 for 3 today. Struck out, grounded out, popped up. The runners go, and the pitch low. Throw to second, not in time. And with Jose Reyes leading that double steal, Reyes has his 300th career stolen base.
Well, just a great jump by Jose. And right there, luckily, the pitcher Burnett bent down because he almost got his head taken off by the throw to second base. One hopped by Diaz.
Castillo's 2nd stolen base of the game. For Reyes, his 10th of the year, his 300th career steal. And now they're going to walk Beltran intentionally. Reyes playing in his 785th game, and you see their fastest to get to 300 since Kenny Lofton. The last infielder to reach 300 steals in fewer than 800 games, you got to go back to Julio Cruz, who reached his 300th steal with Seattle back in 1983. So it's been a while since an infielder got to 300 stolen bases as fast as Jose Reyes now has.
Julio Cruz, a great second baseman for those Seattle Mariners.
So the intentional pass to Beltran fills the bases. Joe Kerrigan will go to the mound to talk to Burnett, who will face Delgado, who hit a bomb of a 3-run homer against Burnett here on Friday night.
Well, relievers always tell me that they have bad memories that they can forget about in that bat against a certain person. That's the key to being a good reliever. Hard to forget that home run by Delgado 2 nights ago.
Do you believe them?
No, I don't. They always say that, but I absolutely don't believe them. I think the guys who speak the most honestly are the guys that say, try to use it as motivation.
Well, he threw nothing but breaking balls to Delgado when he faced him on Friday night. Threw a couple of good ones and then one right in the middle of the plate, and Delgado crushed it. So Carlos steps in here with a chance to break this game open. Mets leading 4-2 in the 7th. Bases loaded, 1 out. In tight.
Interesting hanging curveball that he hit 425 feet. First pitch from Burnett in this at bat. Fastball in.
Delgado was hit by a pitch his last time up. Got him right off the knee. He's also doubled today. Grounds that one foul. His double went high off the center field fence back in the 4th and got the Mets 3-run inning started.
Well, defensively, you can see the infield turned around. They have to stay at double play depth, and the outfield extremely deep.
Delgado has 13 career grand slams. Now has 473 career home runs. One. In the air, shallow right, infield fly rule called as Delwyn Young puts it away for the 2nd out. So there's a big out for Sean Burnett as he gets some measure of revenge against Delgado. But now David Wright coming up, and so John Russell almost assuredly will want a right-hander in the game. David just chews up lefties, and so Jesse Chavez is going to come on to face Wright with the bases loaded. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Earthlink high-speed internet through Time Warner Cable. Mets with a run home in the 7th and looking for more when we come back. Well, Sean Burnett has given up an unearned run here in the 7th, but he leaves with the bases loaded and leaves it to young Jesse Chavez to try and get through the inning.
California right-hander Jesse Chavez pitched in yesterday's game, pitched an inning with a strikeout. Looked very impressive. Really liked his fastball yesterday.
Faces David Wright here with the bases loaded and 2 out. David 1 for 3 today, drove in a run with a 4th inning single. And Wright takes a fastball high for ball 1.
Santos going out, wants to make sure that Chavez has the right signs. Oh, sorry, Diaz going out. Diaz not using any digital signs, touching different parts of his body to relay the signs to Chavez.
Why would a guy do that?
I don't know. Trying to reinvent the wheel, maybe. I don't know.
Could be pitcher who's nearsighted.
Yeah, you can't see maybe the fingers.
And that fastball on the corner, a little bit up, but called a strike by Chris Guccione, 1-1. David has 4 career grand slams. His last one came 3 years ago in Colorado.
The only problem with doing that is he just did the same thing he did the pitch before, so it makes you feel like it's going to be the same pitch.
Which it is, but he buries it in the dirt, and Diaz does a nice job smothering it to prevent a run from scoring.
Mike Torres had the most complicated signs that I ever saw. He used to use pumps. So the guy would pump to relay the signs back to Mike.
Wrist to get tired after a while.
Yeah.
2-1 to Wright. And David takes a fastball strike on the outside edge, and it's 2-2.
You see
Leaves
David
him talking to himself.
He's like, oh boy. One was up, and that one was perfect pitch.
So now he's got to protect with 2 strikes. Trying to put the ball in play and make something happen. Bases loaded, 2 out. Fouled away. David has begun to produce in RBI spots. He's in the 4th inning today. He's right around 300. Runners in scoring position now for the year. Two and 2 to Wright. And he fouled it back with that outside fastball and got a piece of it.
See the infield pretty straight up for David, but all the outfield really shifted over to right field with Nigel Morgan right in the left center field gap.
Chavez is pitching him away, and they're playing him away. This will be the 7th pitch of the at-bat to Wright. He struck him out. Jesse Chavez comes on to get David Wright, and the Mets strand 3. The Mets do get an unearned run as Castillo takes one up the middle to drive in Gary Sheffield to give the Mets a bit of insurance as they hand it off to J.J. Putz for the 8th, leading 4-2.
The New York Mets baseball is brought to you by American Airlines. We know why you fly. We're American Airlines. Well, if you're looking for some good news, check out the Picks News at 10. Every weeknight, Jim Watkins and Cuddy Tong get you caught up on the economy, world events, and local stories that affect your life. Plus, Mr. G's got your reliable 5-day forecast. Don't miss the news at 10 weeknights here on Picks 11.
That was very nicely done. J.J. Putz on to pitch the 8th inning.
Well, J.J. Putz in his last game struggled really with his control after having a couple days off. It'll be interesting to see him back-to-back, how he looks today.
Andy LaRoche leading off the 8th inning and fouls it away and puts ahead 0-2. And 2 to LaRoche, and he takes the fastball high. Robinson Diaz on deck, and then Brian Bixler due up here in the 8th inning. Mets trailed this game 2-0, scored 3 in the 4th and 1 in the 7th. A fine Houdini act today by Livan Hernandez early on to keep the Mets in this game, as Putz gets LaRoche swinging, 1 down in the 8th.
Well, nice life on this fastball by Putz up in the strike zone. That ball explodes on LaRoche. A little late.
Late and in a different zip code.
Yeah.
1 out and nobody on. Here's Robinson Diaz. 2 for 3 today, a single and a double, and he's driven in a run. He's hit the ball to the right side every time. And he takes the slider away for ball 1. Pedro Feliciano gave up a leadoff hit in the 7th, but then retired the 3, 4, and 5 hitters to put this game into the 8th and into the hands of Putz. It's Ramon Vasquez who's on deck to bat for Bixler, who had such a tough time of it against Livan Hernandez.
There's David in now. Talk to J.J. Putz. We like to see that with these Met infielders, just trying to give some encouragement, especially to J.J. here with a 2-run lead. You don't need any walks here. You got to let Diaz put the ball in play. Have one of your fielders make a play.
On 2-0, Diaz takes a strike. Well, the Braves have finished off the Phillies 4-2 the final at Citizens Bank Park, so the Braves take 2 out of 3 in that series.
Is it Kenshin Kawakami with the win?
Yep. So the Braves will come here tomorrow night off a couple of wins. Atlanta now just a game under 500. 2-1 to Diaz, grounded past the mound and into center field. So Diaz has his 3rd hit of the day, and the Pirates will get the tying run to the plate in the 8th inning. And it's hit number 9 for Pittsburgh today. So now Ramon Vasquez will bat for Bixler, and Vasquez has the ability to hit some home runs.
Yes.
Played in Texas the last couple of years and hit 14 home runs for the Rangers over those 2 seasons as a part-time player. Vasquez started at shortstop yesterday and went 1 for 4. Yeah, there's a strike to Vasquez, 0-1. It's John Gravo up in the bullpen for the Pirates.
They don't give you much to look at, do they?
I'm telling you, it's like it's a secret world out there. You have to give a double secret password before you can get through that fence. Good splitter. 0-2 now to Vasquez. Brandon Moss has come out on deck to bat for the pitcher. Moss, who had such a tough time of it the first 2 games of this series, getting the day off today. Now puts ahead on Vasquez, 0-2. Lifted foul. 97 on that fastball from JJ. Vasquez has a home run against Putz in 5 career at-bats. And there's a nice souvenir on a Sunday afternoon. She could not be more thrilled.
One happy and one jealous sister to the right? No, she's great.
Sharing.
Yeah.
It's all about sharing. But she's not giving it up just yet. Here's the 0-2. And it's taken high. 1-2 to Vasquez. Santos setting up inside. Lofted to shallow right. In comes Church, and he'll have to play it on a hop. Diaz into second. Church throws behind him, but Diaz gets back to the bag. Back-to-back one-out hits for the Pirates, and now they have the tying runs on base.
Well, lucky this ball got down. It looked like for a while that Ryan Church was going to try to make this catch because Diaz would have been doubled up, but good read. Not able to go from first to third, though.
So the Pirates getting something working here in the 8th inning against Putz. And Brandon Moss will be the pinch hitter. Moss started the first 2 games of this series, went 0 for 8 with 4 strikeouts. He's 0 for his last 14 overall. But he pinch hits here with the tying runs on base in the 8th. And he takes the first pitch fastball strike from Putz. JJ making the adjustment this year to being a setup man after being a closer for the last 5 years in Seattle. Trying to take his 9th inning mindset into the 8th. And he gets ahead on Moss 0-2. When you come right down to it, all you're doing really is doing the same job, just doing it an inning earlier.
But it is unselfish that he has not said anything about it because, you know, let's face it, 8th inning guy is not going to be able to put up the kind of statistics that a 9th inning guy does, of course.
Not the save statistics anyway. Ahead on Moss 0-2. Lifted to left. Murphy trailing back and makes the grab. Had a little bit of a late start, but made up for it nicely. Moss retired, 2 down. Said that ball worked away from me.
That ball carried a lot more than it looked like. Moss was out on his front foot. You can see he came in first and then ventured back.
The way Jerry has managed late in games with Murphy is he likes to get Murphy that last at bat before he takes him out for defense. Murphy's due to lead off in the bottom of the 8th, and that's why he's in the game and not Jeremy Reed. So now Nyjer Morgan. Morgan's had another nice day at the plate. A single, 2 walks, and a sacrifice. 2 on and 2 out, 8th inning. The sun comes out on a 4-2 Met lead. And Morgan takes the fastball for a strike. Well, this is our first time getting an extensive look at Nyjer Morgan, and you have to like what you've seen.
He's a nice player. Really nice player.
The Pirates have had oodles of chances today. They're just 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position. They had runners in scoring position each of the first 5 innings against Livan Hernandez, but scored only 2 runs. 1-1 to Morgan.
And you know, if he's a former hockey player, you see it in his play. He's hustling all the time, gritty, uniform dirty.
And you know what they say in hockey? If a guy's an asset on the team, they say he's good in the room.
That's right. That's right.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Baseball, it's a clubhouse. Football, it's a locker room. And hockey, it's a room. 1-2 to Morgan. He struck him out. J.J. puts the 8th inning to bed. His second strikeout. On to the bottom of the 8th. Still 4-2 New York. The Phillies before heading to New York. Albert Pujols hitless in the first 2 games of that series in Cincinnati. Has his 12th home run today. The Cubs with Aramis Ramirez now on the disabled list get a home run from Alfonso Soriano to lead the Brewers. Rockies up 2-0 on the Marlins in the 3rd. And here we go to the bottom of the 8th, and Daniel Murphy jumps back from the first pitch from John Graybo.
John Graybo pitched in yesterday's ball game, struggled also with his control. You see that, though. 20 hits in 13 2/3 innings pitched.
Ramon Vasquez, who pinch hits, stays in the game at shortstop. And Murphy chops one out to Vasquez. 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. And that'll bring up Omir Santos. Santos has the biggest hit of this game for New York. A 2-run single in the 4th inning. And K-Rod getting ready after a couple of days off to bid for his 10th save of the year. Hit toward the middle, and Santos has his second hit of the afternoon. So 1 out and 1 on. Mets baseball is in full swing. Remember to put it on picks all season long to catch the big games you want to see. The Red Sox, the Phillies, the Yankees, they're all playing here. Don't miss an inning of amazing baseball all season long right here on picks. So now Ryan Church gets his 4th turn at bat. 2 pop-ups and a ground ball today for Church. He hits one up the middle, and Church has a base hit. Santos pulls in at second. So Ryan Church, who has been struggling so mightily, finds himself a hole.
Well, he did a nice job here jumping on this first pitch from Graybo. Both Santos and Church have jumped on the first pitch fastball. 2 base hits.
And now Fernando Tatis will pinch hit. Batting for J.J. Putz. Tatis, who got the start yesterday in left field, had a couple of hits in that game. Drove in a run. Now hitting at .341 on the year. Looking ahead to the 9th inning, the Pirates will have 2, 3, and 4 in the order. Delwyn Young, Nate McLouth, and Adam LaRoche coming up. So the Mets would love to add some insurance here in the bottom of the 8th. Two aboard for Tatis, and he takes the slider inside for ball 1. Ian Snell started this game for Pittsburgh. He's on the hook. He allowed 3 runs and 6 hits over 6 innings. Mets had an unearned run against Sean Burnett in the 7th. With Reyes waiting to follow. 1-0 to Tatis. A ball and a strike. Graybo staying away from the fastball against Tatis. Gets ahead 1-2.
Good change up there by Graybo.
Santos at second. Church at first with 1 out. And Tatis fouls off the fastball. First one he's seen. Hit him on the foot, and the bases are loaded as Tatis hobbles his way down to first base.
Hit him right in the toe, I think. Ouch. Yeah, just on the left toe.
Trainer Ray Ramirez is going to come out for a look as Tatis continues to try and walk it off. Second Met batter to be hit this afternoon. Delgado got drilled in the 6th. Now the Mets with an opportunity to add to their 4-2 lead, but the question is, can Tatis stay in the game to run? Mets are probably going to bring Jeremy Reed in for defense anyway.
Yeah, so you don't want to take a chance.
But Tatis will stay in. Don't forget, right after this game is over, if you'd like post-game coverage, you can flip it over to SNY for Lincoln Mercury Post-Game Live. All the interviews and the highlights of today's game. Here's Jose Reyes, and the Pirates forced to bring the infield in with the bases loaded and 1 out. Normally you play back and look for the double play, but with Reyes, you can't afford to.
Only way you turn 2 is see Rodriguez getting ready. Only way you turn 2 is if you had Vasquez the shortstop, you got a bullet. A 1-hop bullet, then you might try to turn it.
Jose already with 2 more hits today, a single and a double. And after 2 well out of the strike zone from Graybo, Joe Kerrigan will pay him a visit. Graybo got whacked around a little yesterday, gave up 2 runs and 5 hits in his inning of work.
Joe Kerrigan, he's a close talker, isn't he? It's right up in your grill.
I wonder he has a glove up. He's trying to protect himself.
2-0 bases loaded. This is a serious situation. Wants to make sure he hears him.
So a good spot for Reyes here. Bases loaded. 1 out, a 2-0 count. Reyes hitting .320 this year as a right-hand batter. Santos, Church, and Tatis the base runners. And Reyes takes way outside, ball 3, and Graybo with his first 3 pitches to Reyes has not come close, and now in danger of walking in a run.
Words to live by for the opposing teams too. It's a big ballpark here. At some point got to challenge someone.
Reyes will assuredly take a pitch here, and it's ball 4, and it forces in a run. Graybo walks Reyes on 4 pitches. And now it's 5-2 New York. That was ugly. John Russell has seen plenty of that lately. In all aspects of his team's game, in danger today of losing their 8th consecutive game. So now Castillo, who's already driven in a run today. He drove home a 7th inning run that made it 4-2. Now batting in the 8th with the bases full. And he takes a strike. So Graybo finally gets one across the plate. Evan Meek, the right-hander, up in the Pirate bullpen. Pirates keep the infield most of the way in against Castillo, as they did against Reyes. And that's off the plate, 1-1. A little more shallow than double play depth. And Castillo can run, but he's not quite Reyes.
And especially from the right side.
Yep. Lifts this one to right field. That'll get a run in as Hinsky drifts back. Tagging at third is Church. He comes in to score. Heading over to third, Tatis. And it's 6-2 New York. Sacrifice fly for Castillo, who drives in his second run of the day.
Well, nice to see that winning kind of baseball from Luis Castillo. Now remember, from the right side, he's got a little bit of pop. If he's from the left side, you probably won't see the sacrifice fly. So a very nice job, and also advances the runner. Church comes home to score the 6th run. And of course, the advancement of the runner from second base, Fernando Tatis.
So 2 runs home in the 8th. It's now 6-2 New York, and Carlos Beltran takes wide. Beltran 0 for 3 and an intentional walk today. So with the 4-run lead, that takes away the save opportunity for Francisco Rodriguez, but no doubt he'll be in anyway, having had a couple of days off and having already warmed up. Beltran hits one to deep left field. Back goes Morgan onto the track near the wall. It's off the fence. Tatis has scored. Here comes Reyes around third. He'll score easily. A 2-run double for Carlos Beltran, and it's 8-2 New York.
Well, the Mets are doing everything right. Add-on runs late in the game to put games away. Line drive shot off the bat of Beltran. And the Tatis, is going to score. He's at third, but Reyes is the fun one to watch as he rounds that bag, sent home by Razor Shines. Left fielder Morgan missed the cutoff man. No play at the plate.
Throw went nowhere in particular. Reyes didn't have to slide, but he does. Beltran drives in a pair, now has 24 runs batted in for the year, and the Mets have broken this open with a 4-run 8th inning. Now Delgado, the 8th man to bat in the inning, takes a strike from Graybo. So for the second straight day, John Graybo having a nightmare outing. He gave up 2 runs and 5 hits in an inning yesterday. He's given up 4 runs and 3 hits in the 8th inning today. 1-1 to Delgado. And so now K-Rod has sat down, and it will be Sean Green instead to pitch the 9th inning. Save K-Rod for tomorrow.
Also, I think it's a shot that Sean has been a little off his game right now. It gives him an inning to try to work on some stuff with this big lead.
That's a good point. He's the one guy in that bullpen who's not going well right now. Up and into Delgado, and it's 2-1. Carlos doubled off the center field fence in the 4th inning. Well, Citi Field's taken a couple of home runs away from the Mets today. We haven't seen a lot of that. But Delgado's ball would have been a home run in most parks. Got stopped by the high wall, as did Beltran's ball. Up and in, and he swings through it 2-2. Delgado takes on the outside corner. Strike 3 called, so Graybo finally gets through the inning, but the Mets blow it open with 4 8th inning runs. We head to the 9th. The Mets on the will play first base, and Sean Green will try and finish this one off for New York with an 8-2 lead.
Yeah, that high ERA. Sean really just been missing with his sinker, and I think this is a good time to get him in. Big lead, can work on keeping that ball down and throwing strikes. Even getting behind hitters really has been his problem.
Delwyn Young will lead off for the Pirates in the 9th inning. Young is 2 for 4 today. Pirates have had plenty of chances. They had 10 hits in this game, but they've gone 2 for 15 with runners in scoring position. And you go back to the first 4 or 5 innings of this game when Livan Hernandez was in trouble every inning. And you give him enormous credit for keeping the Mets around and giving them a chance to come back and grab a lead.
Well, Livan is at his best. He bends, but he does not break most of the time.
And Young takes a strike. Well, for the Pirates, they're going in the opposite direction from where the Mets are going. Pirates on the verge of losing their 8th in a row, 12 of the last 13. And Francisco Rodriguez has gotten this series off so far. So he's just letting us know that he's still around.
Stars no one on camera.
Keith?
No, absolutely.
Nate McLouth on deck, and then Adam LaRoche here in the 9th. And Green walks Delwyn Young to start the 9th inning. Well, that's not the way he wanted this outing to start. Let's check in with Kevin.
Well, guys, Francisco Rodriguez, looks like he's going to get the day off, but in his cleats today, he's got little pink trim in there, and obviously it's a tribute to breast cancer and Mother's Day, and also to his grandmother, Isabel, the woman who raised him. When he was just 3 months old, his parents separated and left him to his grandmother, who he said gave me love and a roof and never doubted me. Said he called her my best friend. It's something special. That's how the relationship is. That's how he described it. So much so that he calls her 3-4 times a week. When he signed with the Mets, when he went home to Venezuela, first thing he did is got that new Mets jacket and he gave it to her. So there is really a special bond. He was really glowing talking about it today. Just kind of honored to play for her today, guys.
You know, Frankie is a very quiet guy, but he's very sincere. He's got a great, quiet manner about him off the field that you wouldn't think when you watch the violence and the emotion of his game on the field. McLouth lifts one to deep right field. Back goes Church onto the track, looking up, and it's out of here. A long 2-run homer for Nate McLouth, his 5th of the year. And the Pirates put a couple on the board in the 9th and trim the Met lead to 8-4. And I think Frankie may be going to work really soon. So McLouth with his 2nd and 3rd RBIs of the afternoon, and he McLouded it. So Sean Green's troubles continue, and K-Rod, no more waving. He's going back to work.
Well, if you're John Russell and the Pirates, that's a hit you've been looking for all afternoon. Just wish it had come earlier.
And Green misses badly on his first one to Adam LaRoche. And if you're Jerry Manuel, you can't have a whole lot of patience with Sean Green right now. This is a game you absolutely can't let get away, carrying a 6-run lead to the 9th. There's a strike, 1-1 to LaRoche, who's 0 for 3 today and 1 for his last 27. Two and one now. And watching Green struggle here, it's worth noting, before very long, Mets are going to have Tim Redding ready to rejoin this team coming back from rehab, and the Mets have a pretty substantial investment in Mr. Redding. He's got to go somewhere on this staff. Whether that's in the rotation or whether that's in the bullpen remains to be seen. But, you know, right now everybody in that rotation is pitching pretty well, including the rookie Jonathan Neese, who pitched well in his first start and will get another crack on Wednesday. Way outside, and Green just having all sorts of problems, 3-2.
Well, I think when you're struggling and you lose your confidence a little bit, I think what Sean is doing is really he is rushing, and he's also aiming the baseball. And when you aim it, you have no shot of throwing it in the strike zone.
3-2 to LaRoche, and it's popped up. Shallow left field. Reed coming on, and he tracks it down for the first out. So a struggling pitcher retires a struggling hitter. And that's the first out of the 9th inning. Now Eric Hinsky, who's gone 1 for 3 today.
See if Sean changes it up a little bit. Maybe a first pitch slider or something. He's usually been just throwing straight fastball first pitch every time. Out of the strike zone.
Looks like he's getting under that
Get
ball.
underneath it. He's very quick. That front shoulder's open. Tyler Yates in the bullpen for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
There's a better pitch, and it's 1-1. Not throwing all out, just staying busy in case he's needed.
How warm should I get?
It's always a question in these situations. Question of how much rope Green gets. 2-1 now to Hinsky. And ball 3. And it's just pitch after pitch on that same side of the plate, just unable to command that sinker.
And when you see that shows you a young man is having a tough time making the adjustment, because that's what it's all about.
Grounded to second. Backing up Castillo, 2 out. Green's gotten a couple of breaks here in the 9th inning, and he will take them. And now the Pirates are down to their final out of this game and this series, with the Mets on the verge of sweeping a 3-game series for the first time this season. LaRoche 0 for 3 in a sacrifice. With Santana ready for his assignment tomorrow. Ball 1.
I'd like to see that, don't you? There's your star pitcher intently watching. Maybe he can pick up something for his teammate to help Sean through this. And I think it's really important just for his own psyche and his confidence that Sean gets out of this inning and ends the game.
Yeah, it's a good fastball for a strike. 1-1 to Andy LaRoche.
You never want to, as a relief pitcher, be brought into a game to save people some innings and not get the job done and be taken out.
And the slider for a strike. And now the Pirates are down to their final strike of the afternoon. Tomorrow night, Johan Santana against Derek Lowe, 6:30 on SNY. First of 3 between the Mets and the Braves. One-two. Slider misses away. 2-2 to Andy LaRoche. Popped up. This should do it. Reyes settling under it. And the ball game is over. And the Mets complete a sweep of the 3-game series from the Pirates. And the Mets have now won 7 games in a row. Livan Hernandez, tight roping through trouble, picks up a victory. And the Mets getting plenty of big hits from Santos and from Beltran. And they put together a 3-game sweep, scoring 25 runs in the 3 games against the Pirates.
Well, just outstanding. The Mets 3 times.